Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
It's one of those weird things where you start to think about it and you're like, lawnmowers were invented, I don't know, like electric lawnmower, like serious, not the hooditas, but like electric lawnmowers, gas-powered lawnmowers were invented, obviously after cars were fucking invented. So like, not all that long ago. And considering there's been grass here for billions of fucking years,
do you want to use a scythe to cut grass, bro? I don't.
Get a goat.
What are you, fucking Rolf from Ed, Edd and Eddie? That's not how goats work, dude. They don't fucking just eat grass in a straight line.
That is exactly how goats work. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
not
I'm assuming.
Because I am making a reference to a show I've never watched because I'm 10 years older than you. But...
Anyway, hi everyone, this is episode 540. It's the week of November 15th, 2024, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official lawn care podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week
It hasn't been in a while, but it is today.
The video games from a retro gamer's perspective, as well as whatever the hell else is going on in our lives. Speaking of which, how is everybody doing? How are we all holding up? What are we doing to combat the current events? How are we all staying happy and positive and stuff? Because I tell you, I've had an interesting week in the name of things. Hi, I'm a professional writer.
That's right. Look, Chris, fuck it. We're not talking about it. We're not. This is Chris's attempt to not say the thing. So we're not going to talk about the elephant in the room.
About it.
We're just not. We're going to move on because there's nothing we're going to add today that's going to be substantive or change anybody's fucking mind. So we're going to have a good time. And that's what we're doing, right? Like, to answer your question, what are we doing? I'm having cancer about it, which is pretty cool. Fucking went and got my infusion.
I feel like there's better use of your time than having cancer.
Probably would have been.
He chose to fucking do it.
It's a weird choice. Look, this is your life.
That's right.
You do you, man, but you could have done other stuff. Could have surfed.
I was a different person in August.
Could have bought a goat, right?
I could have bought a fucking goat.
Could have bought a goat.
And then I wouldn't even have to worry about the people on my lawn. I'd know why they were there. They're looking at the fucking goat going, we should get a fucking goat. Look at what he's doing. He's mowing the grass exactly as nature designed to do.
This is fucking great. I don't know.
This is amazing.
Having a goat.
Jesus, have you seen the cheese? It just comes out of them.
I would just hope that instead of the goat eating the grass, you teach the goat how to use a lawnmower.
It's just a goat on one of those fucking, not even a ride-on mower, but like the stand-up ride-on mowers. So He has to like reach his cloven hooves up to the top. Maybe he has a little stool on the bottom, little goat stool that I build for him, that I build for Raoul the goat.
I like this goat.
Raoul. I want all of this. This is fucking great. He'll have the goatee that I can't have currently.
Goatee.
That's right. That's where it comes from. Good job.
Really?
Yeah. I think so.
Are you for real?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think so. Look it up. I'll talk.
You know what? People rarely fact check us on this podcast. It's fine.
Please do. What did you say, Dean?
People rarely fact check us on this podcast. It's
That's
fine.
Right. Nor should they, because it's funnier.
Holy fucking shit! According to AI. Mid 19th century, so named because of its resemblance to the tuft on a goat's chin. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
The thing. Do you think I just make shit up? I'm the smartest person you know, Chris.
Yeah,
I am the smartest person you know.
Weirdly enough, believe you're the smartest person we know.
Oh, I fucking most certainly am.
You are the smartest person. Either you or my dad. But that doesn't mean you're any less full of shit.
No, it means I'm way more full of shit because I know when I'm not being full of shit. I know exactly when and where to sprinkle it in, just for a little sousson of fun. I got my my injection this morning, and Tiff had a really bad night last night because of a number of things going on in the world, and she just didn't sleep. And for the first time, like, we get to the infusion at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting out in the waiting room, and the nurse comes out and she, Danny, and I stood up, and an older black gentleman stood up, and
was it Danny Glover?
No, God, that would have been amazing. But we both stood up, and she looks over at me, and she goes, "Not you yet, sit down." And I was like, oh, okay. And it reminded me of a moment, I swear to God this happened. I swear to you, is one of the funniest things, and it just goes to show you how different things were in like 1997 than they are currently. When I was either a freshman or a sophomore in high school, I am Dan Ryan. I mean, that's not my actual last name, but that is what we go by here. So for all intents and purposes, there was another student in my school named Donnie Ryan. Okay, we both had the same last name, except he was black. And I got called down to the office one day. And I walk into the office of school, which is not a thing that happened to me. I was not a good kid in school, but I also didn't get called down to the principal's office very, like, if ever, because I'm fucking charming, and I talked my way out of literally everything that I really should not have been allowed to get away with. It has caused me problems later in life. Discipline children. Anyway, I walk into the office. It's 1997 in Williamstown, New Jersey. And the secretary looks at me and she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I went, "You guys just fucking called me down to the office to go talk to Steve." Principal Stumpo, sorry. Because I called him Steve, which is, you know, one of my quirks that he loved. Hey, Steve. He fucking loved it. And she looks at me and she goes, "Well, no, we didn't want you. We wanted the black one." And I went, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" And I walked out of the office. But legit, she said that shit out of her mouth, and it happened to me now almost 30 years later. I stood up, and a black man named Danny stood up, and they went, "No, we wanted the black one." And he went back first. It was fucking hilarious to me and nobody else. So my morning started off with me laughing my tits off in a fucking... I'm just fucking giggling in this room. That is a very sad... The people waiting to go get chemo are, as you would imagine, not always in the best mood at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning. I imagine they're not in the best mood at any time that they go in to get chemo, but I am always there at 8, so that is when I can speak to it. But I'm just sitting there in this somber-ass room, laughing my tits off. And we go back to the room, and we get settled in the chair, and they get, for the cancer patients, we have a chair that reclines, that lays back down, that has, it vibrates, it gives you a massage, it is heated, it is a lovely chair. And for the people that come with the cancer patients to sit with them and attend to their needs, they have a fucking stick that you got to shove up your ass and balance on. Like, it's just the most uncomfortable fucking chair that you could possibly imagine. You could tell where they spent the budget. And then they went, "Oh, fuck, we need a bunch of other chairs, son of a bitch. We don't have any money left. Get them fucking sticks." So Tiff is sitting on this uncomfortable chair, and she slept maybe an hour and a half. And I was like, "Babe, I'm sitting here. I got wires coming out of me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm fine. Go to the car, take a nap for like an hour." You know what I mean? Like, just take a nap for an hour. We're going to be here. The infusion takes, just because the medicines, because of the highly toxic, poisonous substances that they are putting into me, they have to be given at certain intervals. And I have one medicine that cannot go in any faster than a half hour. It has to be at minimum a half hour delivery. So they put it into the machine, and the machine runs it perfectly for a half hour. And then there's another one that has to be given over a period of at least 45 minutes, right? So that it takes 3.5 to 4 hours to get the infusion, because they got to run the medicines a certain time. And they also have other people they're taking care of. They have to go get the medicines. They don't just, it's not like a doctor's office where you walk in and they're like, oh yes, we have all of the flu shots right here. These are, I told the story a couple weeks ago when they gave me the fucking, the chemical tracer, and they bring it in this lead fucking thing that they have to like open up. It's just, it's highly dangerous, toxic chemicals. So they have to go get them, right, from a special room. So I was like, babe, we're going to be here for like 4 hours. Let's go take a nap, set an alarm, and come back up when you're better. And okay. She's like, really? You're okay? I said, I got my Steam Deck. I got new games. I got Vampire Survivors with Ode to Castlevania, and I fucking unlocked Alucard, which is, holy shit. Did you unlock Alucard yet, Kris?
Oh, I have to talk about Vampire Survivors. So,
okay.
Not to go too far off base, but I decided that I needed to catch up on everything that I hadn't done yet before I get to the Castlevania stuff. I started the Castlevania stuff. I loved it. I was like,
I did not go with that route.
I missed a handful of other things. So I've been working on that. But today I got assigned to review Ode to Castlevania. So
right,
I got to get my shit together because there's a lot of content there to go through.
Well, I will say Alucard is fucking dope. So I was like, babe,
heard that Alucard is dope, but I have also heard that Richter is fucking insane, and there's a good reason he's the last person you unlock. So I'm really excited to find out what that means.
Yeah, me too. Now, that's fucking awesome. So I was like, babe, I've got all this stuff. I've got snacks. I've got Snap. I've got Pad. I've got Pokemon. I've got the Steam Deck. Go take a nap in the car for an hour. So 4 hours later, the nurse comes to me and she's like, all right, we're all done. And I was like, okay, I'll see you next week. She was like, yeah, no problem. And I walked out and knocked on the door, and I think Tiff shit her pants because she was still in the fucking car. Because she didn't lock the car either. So I like knocked on the window and she didn't respond. So I jiggled the handle and the door opened and she went, oh my God, what the fuck? Oh shit. Ah. You're done? I was like, nah, I just left halfway through. I figured, fuck it. She was like, what the fuck? What time is it? I was like, you've been asleep, dude. It's okay. So that was fucking weird to just be sitting there alone, but it was fine because all of you wonderful fucking people bought me a Steam Deck, and I just fucking sat there and played that shit the whole fucking time I was there. I barely even touched any of the other things that I'm currently playing because I was like, fuck, I'm going to play some Vampire Survivors. I'm going to fucking I wanted to jump into Fist. I was just fucking gifted Fist as well. I said my thank yous on the Discord, but I was like, fuck, I wanted to play this game forever. But Castlevania just has this fucking hold on me that I can't seem to break, and I really need to because it's fucking dope. And then, I came home and I got some very sad news that my uncle passed away. So, I've been talking to family, and like, when I say this, I'm not looking for sympathy. We were not super duper close throughout our lives because, he was not a big fixture in my life. He had left my aunt when I was like 3, but he was one of those dudes where every time I saw him, my Uncle Jim was genuinely warm and funny and kind and hugged me like he legitimately was happy to see me. You know what I mean? From the time that I was 3 years old and I can remember my Uncle Jim giving me a hug and being like, Danny, what's up? To the last time I talked to him, which was on my birthday. And it was actually, I'm so thankful for that moment that I had with him on my birthday. My cousin gave me a call. My Uncle Jim passed away he had Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's, which, fuck, right? Like, I've got cancer,
Of all
that
the
I'm
things
currently
to be an overachiever for, right? Like,
right? Like, I mean, I'm going through cancer,
for the
and
hat trick. Like, do you have
it
to?
fucking sucks, and like everything about this sucks. But that's so much worse.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
put shit in
terrible.
fucking perspective, man. You know? And he's been living with my cousin for the last 4 months, and it's been very, very hard on them. But my cousin called me on my birthday, and he had his dad with him in the car. They were going to like get a beer or something. Which is probably not what you should do, but it's maybe the best thing to do when you have all of that shit going on at once. Like, fuck it. What does it matter? Go do some meth. You know, like it's not going to hurt anything. But you know, my cousin called me and put it on speakerphone, and I got the same warm, happy birthday, Danny. Love you, man. And I was like, oh, Uncle Jim, what's up, dude? You know, like just a very genuine thing. So like that was very sad. You know, and having conversations with the kids today. But then before it came down to record the podcast, I'm talking to my kids. My kids are doing fucking spitting lines from Blazing Saddles, and we're talking about how funny Leslie Nielsen is and why fart jokes are always funny. And the second you don't think a fart joke is funny is when you know you should just pack it up. Like, that's it. You're done here. Like, you've got nothing to live for. If you don't find somebody farting in the middle of a conversation hilarious. So it's been a wild fucking day, man. It's been a roller coaster. There's been a lot of shit that has happened, but we are choosing to focus on the positive and have a good show with a lot of laughs. And that's where we're at, Chris. That's where my day was.
Well, I've been having a similar week to Tiff, I guess, in that I just haven't slept. I haven't been able to sleep. The night that shall not be mentioned, I literally didn't sleep. I was just awake all night. I kept trying to go to sleep. My brain would not let me. And then I wasn't able to get more than an hour or two for the next couple of nights. So things were getting real loopy last night, and I had a recorded wave back with Matt, and it was very, very silly. So that was a lot of fun. And I finally slept last night after doing the podcast and getting some proper laughter under my belt. Was able to get myself to proper sleep, which is nice. Today was kind of an odd day in that. I mean, another thing that was bothersome was like the night of the bad thing. Ellie wet the bed for the first time in over a week.
That fucking sucks.
She had a 2-day streak of wetting the bed again, and we're like, oh no. Oh, please, we're not going back.
Please, God, no. Please. Oh, you said the thing. That was subtle.
I don't know what you're talking about, but we turned the page on this, Dan. We turned the page, and we're not going back.
You're right. No, you're not wrong.
It was just 2 days. It was just 2 days. She's back. She's back in the saddle per se. So she really wanted to have. The deal was that she wasn't going to. She was going to have sleep. We would be allowed to have sleepovers. We were going to start talking about.
Right. We talked about this a few months ago.
Yeah. Once she was.
Or weeks ago.
Decades, 100% out of pull-ups. Right.
Yeah.
So like the first night after she had wet the bed again, she's been playing with the neighbors for hours. They come over. They come downstairs again. They still call me Jelly Bean. I don't know why. They come downstairs like, Jelly Bean, we need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay, what'd you break? Like, would you just follow us? And I was like, well, I'm in the.
What'd you break? Fuck.
I'm in the middle of work. Give me a minute. Where are we going? She's like, come over to the trampoline because they have a trampoline in their backyard. I was like, come over to the trampoline. We want to talk to you about something. Okay. So I finished doing my work and I'm like, what fresh hell is this going to be? What are these lunatics? Because like they would ask me, they've been asking me they love asking me weird shit because they know I'm the pushover. I'm the one who wants to do things. So like they built a tent out of the back of my car a week or so ago and turned it
because
into
why not?
Like, right. It was exactly why not? I'll hang a blanket up and put the seats down and have a good time. Or
God forbid they be children.
Exactly. And so I'm like, what nonsense are they going to ask me for? Because, sometimes like, we need you to take me to Dollar Tree because I saw a ball pit there that I want to buy. And I'm like, they do not have a ball pit for 8-year-olds at Dollar Tree. But sure, let's fucking go. So we go there and the one of them points it out and like, that is for a baby, there's like 15 balls in there. There's nothing.
Man,
you're not going to work in that. It's just not.
I was really hoping they were trying to get you like to buy one of those little like fucking billiard sets that had like, because that's what I'm picturing a ball pit at Dollar Tree would be, and they just like didn't know. And they thought maybe it like grew if you put water on it, like a fucking those capsule sponges that were dinosaurs and shit.
You just put some pin particles on it. We're good.
Yeah, but it's got the little fucking springy pool cue.
Yeah.
Fuck. Now I really want one of those.
So I go over there, and the three of them like sit down in a row in the trampoline, right? Because trampolines now have those like cages around them because.
As well they should. They're fucking death traps.
We learned our lesson that those things are really fucking dangerous if you don't.
You should dig a hole and put it in the ground if we're being honest, like they do in England, but whatever.
So they're all lined up, the three of them, and they made their case. They like had a whole thing about how Ellie should be able to sleep over at their house that night, and they really tried. They really
had
tried
an intervention?
to convince me.
They had an intervention with
tried
Kris.
to, and they knew
that's awesome.
They knew that I was the first hurdle, right? They're like, if we can convince him, that he can convince everybody else. And they were hoping that it would just be, I would say yes, and that would be the end of it. And I was like, so the first question is, have you talked to your mom about this? The answer was absolutely the fuck not.
They wanted you to be the orator,
to their house, have dinner at their house, and sleep over at their house, and they did not mention this shit to their mom. Not even close. So like, well, that's the first conversation we need to have is we need to talk to your mom about it. It's like they're saying like, well, we don't really care if Ellie wets the bed. I'm like,
it's not about you.
I mean,
if
what we
she
do.
wets your bed, your mom's gonna care, right? Like, if she comes over and pisses all over your house, your mom's the one who's gonna be cleaning that up.
I mean, that's a very different scenario than wetting the bed. Like, if I came over to your house and I wet the bed, it would be a very different conversation than if I came over to your house and pissed all over it. You're like, oh, fuck, dude. We really got to talk about you wetting the bed. There's some serious concern versus fucking stop it, you cunt. What is wrong with you? Those are my records. That is my dog.
It's dominance.
What are you doing?
It's dominance.
That's my toaster. I can't use it now. I need a new toaster.
I have come into her
now.
room to it cascading down the side of her bed like a fucking waterfall, right?
Oh,
like,
that's
I go
amazing.
Over, I
I'm
go
proud
over
of her.
to
I'm
like
not
check
mad
on her, and I step
at
on
all.
the floor, and I'm like, there's a puddle on the floor next to your bed, and she's not at the edge of the bed.
You hate to see
Right?
it.
That is not why you should not have carpets. I mean, that's your first fucking mistake.
Oh, it's just a rug. It's not a carpeted room. It's not wall-to-wall carpet. She's got a throw rug.
Well, then get it away from the bed. Problem solved.
The room
Let
is
the
not big
man
enough.
fucking tell his story, Dan.
I'm sorry.
Either way.
Thank you, Dean. I too need to be reined in.
There's
I wanna
too
hear
much
about the
pee
pee.
going around. There's too much pee going around, and so I felt bad. I was like, tell you what. All right, so we basically got permission from their mom. There's like, hey, if she comes over in a pull up, I don't care. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm still not convinced because we had a deal.
Fair.
And that's not where you are right now. So I go and just like, you want to come in and make your case to mommy, then we can do that. Like, let's do that. And then we came home and right in front of the front door, Ellie starts having a panic attack because she gets one time when she was really little, there was something she was nervous about. And then she threw up because she was so nervous about it.
Oh,
and then she couldn't
sucks.
do the thing. So now whenever she gets nervous about things, she's like, oh no, what if I throw up? And then she makes herself throw up because like, I'm nervous. No, don't throw up. That means I have to throw up. Oh God, I'm going to throw up. And then she throws up. So
I keep saying, you keep saying the word and it becomes a sound.
That's an impressive
Sorry, I'm watching a lot of Ted Lasso.
belief, though.
So she's over at we get to the front door of our house and I'm like, this is the other reason why you can't have a sleepover because you're too nervous to do it. So you go over there, enjoy dinner with them, and then come home afterwards. And the next morning, I'll make you guys all breakfast. Right? That was my counter argument. Like, how about
That's not
because
bad.
they were
That's not bad
at
That's
all.
good. Yeah.
They were all going. Their dad is in town, and their dad was going to take them to. He's got a room at the Ocean Casino for a handful of days, and he wanted to take them all. He wanted to take them all swimming. So that's another fun part of the story. But
and you can fucking pee all you want in the pool.
At the Ocean Casino.
That doesn't matter at all.
So she goes back to the neighbor's house. I finally sit down to have my dinner. I take one bite of dinner, and the younger of the two sisters comes banging on the door. Is like, Ellie's going to throw up.
Oh, Jesus.
So I go over there. And she did. She was in the bathroom. She horked at their house. She barked up the pizza that she just had, and now I took her home. But then the girls, they all came over for breakfast. Like the plan was, right? So they didn't get to see their dad all the time. He doesn't live nearby anymore. So he's in town. He and I made the plan. He mentioned it to me like last week. And I was like, all right, let's make a plan. So I texted him the day before. I was like, what time are we doing this? Ellie's got a doctor's appointment at 3:30. So she can really only be out there until about 2 because I got to get her home in time to make sure that we can get to the doctor's appointment on time. And he's like, all right, we'll do it in the morning. We'll meet up at 9. I'll come pick her up at 9 a.m. And then you can come pick her up at the casino to take her to the doctor's appointment. It's like, all right, 9 a.m. That's the plan. So I say, all right, girls, breakfast at my house, 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock is when I'm serving breakfast. You guys can come earlier and help make the pancakes or whatever. That's fine. So they all show up at like 7:30. They're tramping all around the house, stomping their feet and having a great time. And they wanted to eat down here at the bar. Because they like coming over to the basement for years, well, at least a year. They've been talking about like, this would be like a hotel. We could all have breakfast down here, and like you could bring food down and serve us at this bar, and it would be great. And I'm like, that sounds adorable. So yeah, let's do that. So I'll breakfast at the bar,
and you guys could bring money. All of these things could happen.
That would be marvelous. Somebody could say thank you.
You little assholes.
Nobody said thank you. I cooked them
I know.
these delicious ass pancakes, and nobody said thank you. Whatever. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I get Ellie out the door. She's got her bathing suit on under her clothes, like ready to go. 9 o'clock. And then I, drop her off next door. I come home. I do a few more things. I go to, it's like 9:40-ish. I go to walk Naga. And as I'm walking by, Ellie coming out the front door. She's still waiting on him. He hasn't showed up yet.
Nice.
So I think they left around like 10:15. He finally showed up.
That sucks.
And they're asking me like, well, how much time do we have now? I'm like, well, you have an hour less than you did before. I can't let you stay later because we have a doctor's appointment to get to. Like, I can't change that. And it made me so mad. Like,
don't be a bad dad. It's not hard.
They've been waiting for you all morning. And he was texting me with some excuses about like, getting trying to get checked in at the hotel or something like that. Like, you should have had this shit figured out already then.
Yeah.
It's not hard. He texted me at like 9:30 to say that he was all packed up and ready to head out. I'm like, okay, but you said you told your kids you were going to be here at 9 a.m. And they're just waiting. That broke my heart.
Sucks.
That made me so sad.
Because it's not hard. It's not hard to go to a hotel. They make it really fucking easy.
They do.
They don't want you there. They don't want you in the lobby.
No,
they're making a fucking scene.
Yeah. Get your business and get in there, and they did
get
have
gambling.
Fun. I went. We went in there, and they had a blast at the pool, and I came out, and everyone was happy, and then of course the doctor's appointment involved shots, so it was the end of the fucking world. But yeah, that was pretty fun. And other than, I think the only other really interesting thing that happened this morning. So I'm off social media now. I'm on all personal levels. I'm completely off of social media, which has already done wonders for my brain. I've been thinking about this. A friend of mine doesn't have any social media at all, and I talk to her a lot, and her general demeanor is like pretty solid. And I'm
the best person you know.
I've had these thoughts to myself of like, I probably shouldn't be paying this much attention, but like I was so hyper focused on, I need to be a part of the conversation. I need to know what's happening. I need to know what people are thinking. And I no longer feel that way. and it's done me a lot of harm. So I'm just not paying attention to anything anymore except for me and mine. And I'm not doing social media anymore because, think back to everything the last year or two of like trying to enjoy something new in Star Wars. And then I open up my phone and everyone's telling me it's just like, no, it's terrible. It's dumb. And you're dumb for liking it. And like, you know what?
Yeah.
If I cut that out of my life entirely, then that's a whole lot of negativity. I'm not exposing myself to on a daily basis.
I just get to enjoy things.
Exactly. The problem is that I am legit addicted to it. Earlier today, I had opened up Facebook and I was on it for like 3 minutes before I even realized what I was doing. And I was like, I read some shitty comment to something and I was like, you know what? I can't believe I did this, but I'm going to close it up. I'm out. It's this addiction to it. So as I'm trying to like figure out what to do with myself during my morning constitutional on the toilet, and I decided to start figuring out my Christmas list a little bit better. Now, one thing
I was hoping it was going to be Snap, Pad, or Pokemon, but no, you don't love me. So
I
fuck
tried
me, I
Pad.
guess.
I'm playing Pokemon. We could all play Pokemon together.
Not Chris.
No, not Chris. Chris.
I just don't know that I'm interested in it. I was playing Volcano. That was kind of fun.
That sounds so much worse than Pokemon.
Yeah, it does.
It's Volcano.
It's from the Dadish guy, and it's like a word puzzle thing from the Dadish guy.
Yeah, but you don't have a holographic Articuno EX. I do.
Do you have a Charizard that when you press on the card, it does a whole fucking like you go into the painting?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's fucking hot.
It's cool. You know what? If I put that on my phone, I'm never going to get my phone back because John already has me doing Pokemon Go again. Whenever I walk the dog, there's a Pokestop near the house, and I need to get more Pokeballs for him because
so get the dog a fucking phone.
Every now and then, we'll walk the dog, and he'll ask for my phone so he can play Pokemon Go, and I'm like, well, that's great. Get out of the house and have some exercise. Hooray.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, back to the story. Christmas list. Every year, I make Christmas lists, and a lot of times folks don't give me things off the Christmas list, but it's mostly full of like nerdy books and video games. People don't want to buy me that stuff. This year, my Christmas list is just full of things I found on the one thing that I will continue to do on social media is Ellie and I, before we go to bed at night, we watch a bunch of stupid videos on like the Facebook Reels. And it's always like cat videos, food videos, or Amazon finds. The Amazon finds videos.
The Amazon finds can be cool.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I have this, there's this steam cleaner that looks amazing. And I'm like, I'm just filling my Christmas list with all this stuff. Like, I really like keeping my house clean. I really enjoy the feeling of accomplishing chores. And this past year, and particularly these last handful of days, because I've been stress cleaning a lot, is that I need better tools. That's part of what makes... I'm the one in the house that does most of the cleaning, because nobody else wants to do any of the cleaning. I enjoy doing the cleaning. I like getting that shit done.
Well, and you're home all day.
It's true. Like I'm home all day.
You have not that you're not working, but you have more of an opportunity to do so. Like, let's give Karen some credit. I'm sure if she was working from home, she would be doing
work from home.
Shh, Chris. Fuck! I set you right up for it.
Yeah, we were trying to
fucking threw her right under the bus without hesitation.
She's driving that bus. She's very aware of it. She knows what my role in this house is.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I was trying to,
I appreciate the effort, but she's well aware of what I do around here. She's got no qualms about that. Because I was talking to her, I think last week or so, we were driving somewhere, and I was like, talking about how I kind of want a new vacuum for Christmas. And she's like, if you had ever bought me a new vacuum for Christmas, I'd kill you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I legit want a new vacuum for Christmas. Because that would make my life so much... I hate doing the stairs. Because I have to drag the whole giant-ass vacuum over the stairs. Because I don't have a handheld vac anymore. My old Dustbuster finally broke this past year. Like, the battery just wouldn't hold a charge for more than, 5 seconds. So I could get, a stair done and then need to charge it for half an hour. Like, that's not going to do the trick. But I need more cleaning tools. And I found some fun things. Like I said, there was the steamer. We talked last year about the electric mop. Nobody got it for me.
Yeah.
That was the thing I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the steam mop thing. I really wanted that. for Christmas, and nobody got that for me. Well, I had some wacky shit on my list. Let me pull up my list real quick, because I tell you, there's some really fun things that I've been finding these Amazon finds. Let's see, where's my
as you're looking for your list, I will tell you, Chris, if on December 25th, maybe the 26th, because maybe you don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to say it right now because it's the day of. But if you do not get either a steam mop or a bidet, you let me know which of those two you would like.
Okay.
And they will be on their way to you.
We have a bidet. We like the bidet.
Probably not both. Depending on the ones you pick, you fancy bitch. But, we'll talk.
We'll talk. I need more information on bidets. We'll talk about that.
They shoot water into your asshole.
Yes, I know.
And it feels great, and you're clean.
We had a whole podcast about it.
Okay, I know.
You get warm water.
What more information do you need?
Well, that was like a year ago. I'm sure bidet technology is
it really hasn't.
Up to the latest and greatest on it.
It's not an Apple phone.
It really hasn't changed all that much in literal fucking decades.
It still shoots water up
the cold water right up your hoo-ha. Sometimes it feels great, and you're like, that was weird.
That match what's going on, like the ones behind your television, basically.
You want a bidet behind your television?
No, the LED lights behind his television. I want lights in the toilet that match like mood lighting, basically. For like,
you want one of those like fancy Japanese ones that like sing a song when it cleans your asshole.
Oh God, exactly. I would like one that sings a song. I will say, if it comes with a massage setting, it's not just a bidet.
Massage setting. Fuck.
I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple times where it's been like, oop, maybe a massage setting wouldn't be a bad idea. I just explored some things. I'll find out.
So the highest priority thing, and I think that you two can appreciate this, given our collective ages around here. The number one thing on my Christmas list is a nose hair trimmer.
Oh, I don't have those anymore.
I know you don't anymore, but
it's so fucking weird. Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my God. Man, I feel you.
It's not, Chris. Because and yes, 100% I agree. I have a nose hair trimmer that's fucking awesome. And I will 100% support that. But I will tell you that no longer having nose hairs.
Right. They do serve a purpose.
They did. Yeah. It's weird. Like, if I pinch my nose, it stays together for like a millisecond because there's nothing in there to prevent it from doing so.
Right.
So like if you ever like, you like really pull some fucking snot back and your nostrils stick together for a little bit. Mine just do that all the time. Like if I just squeeze it or itch it.
You got like baby powder up your nose.
Oh my God, it's so fucking weird. It's so weird. I make my kids look at it every couple of days. I'm like, hey, come look at my weird hairless nose holes.
Okay.
That's fucking weird.
I know. The whole fucking thing is weird, Chris.
It's true.
In mine, I just feel like you have like a giant manatee nose.
Norelco nose trimmer for nose and ears. That's the other thing, ear hair.
I don't have a lot of ear hair yet. I get it on like the edge of my ear, and I just like rip them out.
I've been doing that too, and now I can't keep up.
That's fair.
It's gotten to the point where it's
shit is just coming in.
It's coming in hard and fast. It's too much.
I got there's a ton of them. I don't remember the exact brand that I got, but it's one of those fucking skull shaver things.
Oh, those are cool.
Because I am completely bald now, but there is still like, I need to buzz my head like once every week and a half or so.
Get the fuzz off.
Because there's a little bit of growth. You know what I mean? Like it's certainly not coming back like it will once I'm done with chemo. But there's still a little bit. So I've got to buzz the head. I've got to do the face. Because they're just like, there's a weird hair that grows. It's like this one. There's one hair on my cheek that's like, fuck you, I'm coming back. Look at me, I'm big and black. You don't have any black hair anywhere except right here out of the side of your fucking face. So like, I just, but it also has like a fucking nose hair trimmer thing on there. And I'm really sad that I can't use it because the beard trimmer or the head trimmer part fucking awesome. And I will
send me a link to that, because like I buzz my head, I don't shave it bald, and what I use right now are just regular hair clippers, and they're kind of a pain in the ass.
Now this thing's great. I'll send you the link. It's great.
Yeah, send me a link.
It was like $60. You know what I mean?
Something
like
better
it wasn't the cheapest one, but
something
it's certainly not the most
hair,
expensive.
I have to do it like every couple of weeks, and because ever since COVID, I've just been I'm done with haircuts. I'm just done with it.
Yeah, as well you should be. And if I can be totally honest with you, like, if my hair comes back when I'm done with chemo, which is a very small possibility, great. If it doesn't, I'm just keeping the no hair. I encourage you to do it. It's so much better.
Like I said,
nothing.
It's been years. Ever since
not
COVID.
Buzzed.
I like the fuzz. I love the fuzz. But that's it. It can't go.
I did
much,
too.
It can't go much further than that, because the thing is, I always hated brushing my hair. I've always hated that.
Yeah.
Again, I would have to take showers in the morning, which is fucking backwards. We had this conversation years ago. Because if I don't take showers in the morning, I have the weirdest bedhead that will not go away. But ever since COVID, I keep it super short and buzzed, and that's the end. That's the end of that. Ta-da.
Nope. Unless my hair comes back with no male pattern baldness bullshit, I'm just keeping it bald. It's better. It's so much easier. It really is. And I didn't think I was going to like it. I really didn't. And I don't like it at all without the beard. Certainly. Like that right now, I'm just very uncomfortable in my own skin. Like I had my aunt send me a picture of my grandmother because I was in the bathroom the other day and I just like caught a glimpse of my face and I was like, fuck, I look like Meme. Send me a picture of my grandmother. And she did. And I was like, yep, I wasn't making that up. Fuck, that's weird. Anyway, so, you know, but like, I'm serious, man. When this is all over and I can have the beard back, I will be keeping the bald head. It's just easier. Yeah, and I like the fuzz too. I did. I like the little bit of fuzz, but this just every morning, it literally takes like, and if you do it every morning, it takes fucking 30 seconds. You just zzz, and you're fucking done and out the door. Well, or to your basement, you know.
Yeah.
Proverbially out the door.
Not leaving this house.
Dean doesn't have to worry about any of this shit because he still fucking has all of his hair because he's a fuck.
Yeah, a little bit. It's thinning, but it's fighting for.
Yeah. Oh my god! But it's so much better than where Kris and I are. Like, let's not fucking mince words here.
Both of you are just a little older than me too, so you got.
That doesn't matter.
That for you.
I had the same fucking thing when I was your age. I just had long hair and wore it back over the fucking bald spot like a cunt.
I don't have a bald spot yet, so I'm hoping I get to keep my hair. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm hoping.
Man buns can do fucking many things. They do a lot of heavy lifting for guys that are losing their hair.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if I'm losing it. I think it's just like I'm getting older and it's thinning. And that's
just
fine.
Had enough.
Yeah, like
fuck you. I'm out.
Well, hair
it's got
thins,
hopes and dreams of its own.
Because I looked at my hair. It's like it's not receding or anything. It's just my hair's thinning a little. So like whatever at that point, you know. I get it. I'm getting older. I'm not gonna fight it, but yeah, I'd like to keep my hair for what it's worth. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but I'm crossing my fingers.
Believe me, I would much rather have fucking long hair like I did for a large portion of my life. But without that option, nothing. Just bald as shit.
You'd be surprised because, like, I hate doing things with my hair. I wear hats a lot. You'd think I'd want to be bald. I don't want to be bald. Like, but you
should be.
You know,
it's great.
I don't think I'm gonna look good. Like, I feel my head and it's got weird dents and shit, and I'm like, no one wants to see that.
I got a weird fucking mole on the back of it. Oh, who fucking cares? You're married now.
Can I lick it?
Valid point.
I don't care.
All right.
You're married.
That's fair.
Now,
that's fair. I'm off the market. What the fuck does it matter? It's true. It's very true.
And I got to tell you, if she's spending a lot of time looking at the back of your head, I salute your fucking adventurous nature and pegging. But, you know.
Oh, boy.
Maybe try something different.
Great, Dan. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, the last thing before we actually talk about video games,
before we actually talk about pegging,
it's kind of video game adjacent. Earlier today, we're planning the next issue of Nintendo Force, and we're all chatting about what we're up to. And Jonathan Holmes, who's of Destructoid and Boston's Favorite Son podcast, he was on our trivia episode for. Was that 500 that he was on?
I don't know.
No, he was on one of our trivia episodes like relatively recently in the last couple of years. I've been reading his work for ages. He was let go from Destructoid this morning, and it was just kind of like out of nowhere.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Kotaku did a bunch of that shit too that I imagine we'll talk about soon enough.
Yeah, it actually didn't make my my list,
oh, no?
but but yeah, that's seems to be going around, and that really bummed me out. But he was he let us all know on the Nintendo Force side because he was trying to line up an interview with the folks at Playtonic for the next issue.
Yeah,
and but that was through his Destructoid email, which he suddenly doesn't have access to anymore.
That's a fucking bummer.
It is a bummer because I liked Destructoid, but back in the day, like that was not one of the that was one of the publications that I was kind of hoping was still around in a good way, like fighting the good fight against AI generated articles and Gamergate stuff.
You're skipping we're at the wrong part of the show to talk about this, guys.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later at least. But yeah, that was it. And then some video game stuff. Did anybody else have any? It is getting late. It's already 11 o'clock, so we should probably move this along. Does anybody else have any life stuff? Does anybody have any life stuff they want to talk about before we talk about video games and move this thing forward?
I'm gonna shout out Cronodin real quick. I want to say thank you. I made a little topic conversation where I was talking about saving up for Metal Slug, and he was nice enough just to gift it to me and ask for my opinion when I'm done with it. So I'm very excited to get that in and stuff. I've put in a couple hours. I didn't realize how much of a roguelike it actually is, so that was really cool. But that's been about it, and I just wanted to say thank you again, Cronodin. That was very awesome of you. And yeah, I think we can all use some uplifting moments and times, and yeah, there's just nice people doing nice things for you. That always feels good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
we there is not a single member of our Discord family that is not a fucking mensch.
Oh. yeah. No, everyone there is great. The
best.
I love speaking to everyone there. It's a fantastic time, and if you're not already a part of it, you should come join up.
No, fuck that. We have enough.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Stay
fuck
out.
It. We're gatekeeping the SAG chat. No one else is allowed.
Well, I'm trying. I'm doing a little reverse psychology here, Dean. Like we don't want you.
Yeah, no, all right.
You're
well,
then
we're only kind of gatekeeping it. You can ask, but maybe we'll send you a link. Just shoot us an email or something. Whatever we're doing nowadays. Show notes.
It's the He-Man Woman Haters Club, except for the women that are already there. You're also part of it. Yes.
Anyway, I got a few new things that I haven't had a chance to try yet because it all happened today. I downloaded all the new DLC for Atari 50. The one that came out today, the Console War, and the previous one that I did was waiting for this one to come out because I figured I'll just bang them both out in one shot. I got a review code for Plucky Squire that happened today.
Awesome.
So I'm going to get to review Plucky Squire. And like I said before, I've been assigned Vampire Survivors so far. So that's I got to make sure I dedicate the time. Oh no, poor me. To
yeah, God forbid. What a fucking shitty thing that they're making you
You're really
do.
just foisting this on me. Do
you want me to talk to them, Chris?
You should.
I know you have a hard time standing up for yourself, and I don't have any fucking filters anymore. So if you'd like me to fucking talk to your bosses about giving you video games to play and then money on top of it,
simply not okay. It's just not okay. So the Plucky Squire, I go to download it, and it says I need to clean the fridge, basically, because my 400 gig micro SD card is just full. I already have a bunch of stuff archived, so I need to get me a new micro SD card. I have them on my Christmas list, 1.5 terabytes which is more than double what I currently have, which should be enough to last me the rest of the Switch's lifetime until we get the whatever the sequel system is. But I went to download
theoretically should bring you to the Switch too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Plucky Squire.
Yeah, I suppose you were. Sorry.
Guess how big that was. Guess how big Plucky Squire is, the download.
4 gigabytes.
10 gigs. It was like 10 and a half.
That's bigger than I would think. Yeah.
Same
I was
here.
being kind of shitty with the 4 gigs. And you didn't give Dean a chance to answer.
I didn't. I'm sorry. Dean, would you like to guess?
700.
Nailed it. Yeah, 10 it's an over 10 gig game. That's pretty massive for
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm really excited to give it a try. I'm pretty jazzed about it.
It looks really fucking great.
I'm a little surprised it's that big. I thought it'd be a larger or a longer game. It's only 8.5, 9 hours.
Yeah, it's not a huge game. I just think it's not crazy optimized on the Switch. Like, I think that's kind of its big problem.
Probably it, yeah.
I don't know. Vampire Survivors has broken me. Anything more than a half hour is a long game now. I'm like, oh, God. It was a long game. There's not a thing that's going to come out and instantly kill me at 30 minutes and 4 seconds. And then, depending on how many pieces of tiramisu I have, 30 minutes and 8 seconds or 30 minutes and 12 seconds.
Tiramisu, sir.
That's
Have
fair.
you not killed death yet?
No.
Gotta get on that, Dan.
Well, like, what do you mean kill death? Like, do you mean just stay alive as long as possible till he just gives up?
You can kill him.
I mean, I've had him go away. Is that what you mean?
No, the Red Reaper, you kill him, and then you unlock him.
Yeah, I mean, I did it, but isn't it a Black Reaper that always shows up at the end? I don't know.
The White Reaper can't be killed. That's the one that actually destroys you. The Red Reaper is the one that shows up at the 30-minute mark, and you have to evolve the Clock Lancet and the Laurels.
I did that one time, and like after that, I was like, that was fun. I don't want to do that again. That was a lot of work getting the Clock and Laurel together.
Yeah, you gotta do the Laurels and the Clock Lancet, and you have to get the Metaglios and the rings. But once you do that, you're like damn near unstoppable.
Yeah, it's like Jesus mode.
You kill death, and that's super awesome. Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet.
Super fun. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch.
All right, what have you guys been playing? Anything good, or are we gonna take a break?
Oh no, I mean, I guess I played the COD Blops. I played it.
Get the COD Blops?
Yeah, I mean it's free, so why not? It's on Game Pass.
It is?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. So yeah, sorry, it's not necessarily free. It's free if you have Game Pass. So I downloaded it.
I forgot about Xbox.
I played it.
Shit.
It's
is it good?
Yeah, I mean it's good. I played a lot of zombies.
Or is it just COD Blops? Like,
nah, I mean, I don't know. I've been out of the game a long time. It's great. I think I've had a lot of fun playing it. I can't tell you if it's any different from any other Call of Duty game. I highly doubt that it is. But I will say the zombies are super enjoyable from what I've played. I've played a little bit of the competitive. I have like 2 different friend groups. I play zombies with Matt from Waveback. And I play the multiplayer stuff with most of my like streaming friends. So it's been interesting. I've gotten to, I guess, take in most of it. There's also a campaign for this one, which I don't think was in the previous one or the one before that. So that's cool that they threw a campaign back in. I'm gonna check it out at some point, but you know, there's other things to check out. Like I said, I've been playing Metal Slug Tactics, and I guess
that does look really awesome.
Since we're on that point of games we've been playing, I did put in like I want to say closer to 4 hours. It is stunningly deep. Like there are a lot of mechanics to the game to understand, take in. There and it's I can't say it's very well laid out, but it's all there for you. Like, it's all displayed in front of you for you to kind of, like, go and look around at. And the tutorial does a pretty good job of, like, saying, hey, this is how you look up the info on all this stuff. Go wherever you like. But here's the basics on how you move around and whatnot. And, you know, from there, you'll figure it out. And that's pretty much how it is. like I said, it's very much a roguelike, but it does a good job as disguising it in like a story sort of thing. So basically there's 4 different areas you can go into, and they have these very short missions that you do, and they're like there's like, I think the description for Metal Slug said there's 20 different types of missions. I've probably done like 3 or 4. Some of them are like blow up a convoy, which is a truck just getting from point A to B. If you blow it up before it gets to point B, you get like a successful mission. There's other ones where it's like you just got to defend yourself for 4 turns. There's different bonus objectives like getting through it undamaged. And when you beat a mission, you typically level up. Sometimes you can level up even twice. And with leveling up, you get different power-ups. You can equip mods for your gun. There's different passive abilities and everything. And they all play into like how you do later missions. After a few missions on the map, the boss appears, and you have this opportunity to take down like essentially a giant metal slug sort of monster tank thing. That's where I've gotten stopped at so far. I have not been able to kill the first level boss. The game definitely does not play out like a normal tactics game, because you guys have played normal Metal Slug before, at least like a little bit.
Yeah, like vanilla run and gun Metal Slug? Yeah.
Yes. So the idea of the run and gun is still there. How you gain like armor or dodge or the ability just not to get hit or hurt is not by like tactically looking for cover. It's about running like as far as possible to get up like enough dodge or like shield to not get hit during like the next ensuing attack. So you can mitigate a large amount of damage by just going to like a specific area. But with that, you're also limiting the, amount of people you can get, because where you can move isn't always where the enemy is going to be. And on top of that, you have the ability for your characters to sync up, which means they'll all attack the same enemy as like bonus actions. So you can have, say, your one character attack, but your other 2 allies will also help. And they also get their own attacks to do the same thing as well. And if they're attacking different enemies, you can have them like sync up 3 or 4 times in different areas. And it gets, like really extreme.
Like fucking putting, what the fuck was it called? I don't remember the exact materia, but putting like the fucking copy materia on like Knights of the Round, and then just putting your PlayStation controller down for 3 hours while it just fucking went.
So yeah, and I imagine it could get to that point where you're doing these crazy sync moves and stuff. But right now, like when I do it, I have 2 people that have like machine guns, and then I have one person that has grenades, a grenade launcher. So essentially, it's like someone's using their machine gun, another one's using their pistol, and then someone's throwing a grenade from far away that's like kind of away. So I have always someone that's like in the back. I don't want to stay on this for too much longer because I really haven't put in enough time to give like any big decision. It's pretty hard from what I've played, but like Metal Slug is classically just like a hard arcadey type of game.
Metal Slug is tough.
Right.
Like, always has been.
I think the choice for making it a roguelike is actually a very good pivot for them, because tactics is something they haven't really had a lot of experience with.
Sure.
But when you're giving it like kind of an arcadey approach and the replayability is still there, I think it's being very faithful to like the heart of Metal Slug just in a new form. So I'm having a good time. Great. Yeah. Like, the art direction's there. Really it's like so cool. Yeah, it's such a neat
always
game.
Been a fan.
And like the fact that like it's not on the Neo Geo anymore, you can play this anywhere. It's cool.
It's fucking cool, man.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I definitely didn't mention it. Dadamu had a hand in developing this game. I don't know exactly what their hand is, but they were on the opening credits. So I know a lot of people hold them in high regard, and I'm looking forward to playing more of that. I've been trying to get through Flowstone Saga. Yeah, and
everything's Survivor now.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's the other thing. The other game we've been playing is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and they just did an update for that. So, like, I've been trying to churn through that, but like, that game's really difficult. If you want like an actual challenging Survivors game, I highly recommend that, because you have to put in a lot of thought to like how you're mining things and like the enemies on the map and leveling. It gets very, very intense, and I've had a lot of fun with it, but it's also become frustrating to a point because I can't beat like the final levels, and I'm like, damn, am I just not good enough? Because I've completed plenty of other Survivor games, and getting to the end of this and just not being able to is a little tough, but it's fine.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's all great. I mean, you know, we're taking L's left and right. What's one more L? So
I see, because I tried, like, I have a really hard time playing more than one Survivor style game at a time.
There's burnout.
Like, that fucking Karate Survivor thing came out.
I heard that was like, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If it's not as good as Vampire Survivors, I don't see any reason to play anything else. Because Karate Survivor, that is a fucking Dan-ass game if there ever was one. You know, like, that is right up my fucking alley. And I played it, and I was like, it's all right. You know? And then Vampire Survivors was like, oh, but like Castlevania, though. And I was like, well, fuck, dude. Like, okay, that's not even a question.
It's hard to follow up with anything to Vampire Survivors at this point, because they have so much content that's
it's just
licensed at this point too, you know, that there are the contemporaries. Like, I would say that Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is a very good game in its own right, but you know, it's very different. You know, it's with Vampire Survivors, anyone can play that game. It's on the phone. There's plenty of content for it.
There's
the
lots new fucking
to do.
Doom.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's on Alarmo already.
And you know, these other games are not that. The other Survivor games that come out, they're good, but they're just different. Like Potato's good. Yeah. The one I'm talking about is good. There's another one that I beat called Bounding of One. They're all great games, but they're not the one that kind of started this big viral trend. And the fact that they've had the longevity to keep it going is awesome.
It really is. Like, and I see that Brotato thing all the time, and I hate the name so much. I don't know why, but I see that, and it just fucking makes me mad when I look at it. I'm like, that's so fucking dumb. And I just don't want to play it. And I'm sure I would like it for, you know, what it is and whatever. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I've been putting some time into the Ode to Castlevania thing. And I don't want to say too much because Kris hasn't played it yet, and I don't want to fucking spoil anything. I will say playing as Alucard is fucking awesome. You start with Alucard's sword, right? And it's awesome. And when you upgrade his sword, it gets absurd. And it's just awesome. Absurd in the best way. The map is fucking huge. Like, there's so much to try and get through. It's really, really, really good, which is not a fucking surprise, I think, in the least bit.
I was a little bummed out there were no achievements to get out of it, because typically with their DLCs, they do add, like, some extra stuff to do, but they're just that confident in the content they put in.
That is, like, I have 4 platinums in my entire life, and 2 of them are Guacamelee. So it's just like, that is not that. I know that is, I've seen that mentioned a couple of places of like, you know, there's no achievements and that sucks and like whatever. And I get that there are people that define themselves by like achievement hunting and all of that. That's not me. It didn't have felt like, it just does not affect me.
For a game like that, you shouldn't let it like affect your enjoyment, because the content they're putting into it is such like just a nod to everything that the game was trying to, in the first place, even not mimic, but like show that it had that heart of it.
There's love.
Yeah,
there's
it's cool. We've
there.
Come full circle.
It's really, and the price, man. There is
$3.59 for that DLC is pretty damn cheap.
There's no better fucking value than Vampire Survivors. There just fucking isn't. you know? Like, if you like that style of game, because that's the thing, like, I would go so far. I have been so incredibly impressed. And this might be a hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take in our particular circle, but in gaming in general, it might be a bit of a hot take. I would argue that that Vampire Survivors is putting itself into the conversation along with Tetris as possibly perfect games. The only thing I think that would hold it back is that I could see enough people that Vampire Survivors just isn't for versus Tetris. Like, I think they're, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm saying that clearly. Like,
no, you're saying it correctly. Because, I mean...
Tetris is just
it's more accessible.
Appealing game.
Yeah.
Widespread.
Yeah.
Not by much, maybe.
Well,
but like
the fact
Tiff
that the central focus of it
Survivors.
is abstract, right? It's
Yeah.
the Tetris is abstract shapes. Vampire Survivors is characters. Karen also hates Vampire Survivors, but it's because there's too much happening.
That is why Tiff hates it.
Play. Yeah,
she cannot watch me play it. She can't listen to it. Once all the fucking sounds start going, like, it skizzes her out. She just can't. She can't fucking handle it.
Dude, that gets my neuro spiciness going. I live for it.
God, I fucking love it. I know. I
adore the chaos. I adore it.
6 to midnight. So like, but I would argue that, like, ignoring that part of it, like, if we take that part out, I would argue that game is really approaching that level of being revered and respect. It's fucking perfect.
It is for me. It is one of the best games I've ever played.
They do the Castlevania
I would have to
thing.
Agree it's up there.
And like, all I want from them now, and I know it's a big ask, but apparently Konami likes them. Give me the fucking Metal Gear. Give it to me.
They talked about that recently.
I want it so fucking bad. I don't know what the cardboard box looks like in Vampire Survivors, but I want them to show it to me.
I think
because I know it'll be glorious.
They after doing Castlevania, they really want to focus on smaller things, because Metal Gear would be cool, but they're kind of too nervous to attack it. So
that makes me think they're doing it. That makes me think they're fucking with me, and they want to like lower the expectation, and then they're going to come out, and I'm going to be fucking Psycho Mantis floating around in a castle, killing fucking whatever with Alucard swords. It's raw. I need it. It has to happen. Kris, Dean, listeners, let's fucking spirit bomb this shit. Give me your energy. Let me fucking,
all right.
We'll just charge up every couple of episodes. Sorry, last thing. Because I didn't talk, Kris, about what else I've been playing. It has brought me
I wasn't here.
I know you weren't. Well, fuck, you didn't have to say it. We covered for you beautifully. Dean didn't even fucking know.
Didn't even know.
Oh, yeah. Photo finish. It was a close one.
Who's winning the race? Is it the brown car or the white car? Oh,
so,
man.
What have you been playing, Dan? 11, 19 at night?
I see you wearing tidy whities. Pad North America today, as we record, this is the 12th anniversary of Pad North America, which is fucking absurd. I've been playing for almost 10 of it. It's crazy. But in Japan, they just updated, because Gung Ho published the mobile Disney RPG game that's out, which I have not downloaded, but it's pixel RPG. Looks really cool. Like, the art looks really nice and whatever. But I just don't have the space for that in my life currently. With this Pokemon game that is really fucking good. I know I said I would talk more about it this week. It's really fucking good. If you like trading card games, this is really awesome. It's a really simplified version of Pokemon. The card acquisition so far is great. They did a really smart thing where you can rent decks for a certain amount of time, so you can see like what you're trying to build towards. There's a lot of really good content. I'm not going to spend any money on it. I've decided, like, I'm and not for any like moral reason or whatever. I'm just not going to, because I need a free to play thing to counteract Pad and Snap. Although Snap, I'm kind of cooling on. Like, I've kind of had enough. But in Japan, in PAD, they're doing a collab with their own Disney RPG property. So they brought back a lot of Disney characters, and it just brings me a ton of joy that one of the strongest possible teams in Puzzle and Dragons, after now Japan will be 13 in February. So after almost 13 years of this game, one of the most powerful teams I can build in the game is a card that is Peter Pan, and then another card that is Peter Pan and Captain Hook. And they look great, and I fucking love that movie to itty-bitty pieces, and I just open it up, and I'm like, aw, I get to be Peter Pan. And it's awesome. Like, I fucking love it. It's great. They did a really good job with it. The cards are great. It's been a really fucking long time, and it continues to impress me. And that's it.
All right.
So we can, I guess, go to commercials now, Chris, since you're so fucking worried about clock management.
I've got a long fucking day ahead of me tomorrow.
Well, I say, sir.
Relatives.
Well, with that, right, Chris, we're going to take our first break.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's been going on at Stone Age Gamer. We're going to talk about some week-old news. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new on the official Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel.
First up, Castlevania. Who likes Castlevania? Who fucking talks about Castlevania? When it comes to games about whipping monsters, nobody does it quite like Konami. But during the 16-bit console wars, they made very, very different Castlevanias for both major players. Naturally, since everything in life is a competition, we are compelled to. And see, for some of you, I said that out loud and you went, no, it's not. And you turned it into a fucking competition, you sucker. We are compelled to, nay, we must ask ourselves, Chris, Dean, listeners, which one is better? Is it Sega's weirdo visual trick showcase or Nintendo's oddly butchered port of Rondo of Blood? They really just could have done the same. Anyway, find out in 16-bit brawl Castlevania Bloodlines versus Dracula X.
Next, Retro Fighters make some really cool controllers, and they made a pair for the GameCube that are unsurprisingly really cool too. One's got to focus on its D-pad, the other's all about the analog stick. Learn all about them in our latest product overview, Retro Fighters Battler GC and Blade GC wireless GameCube controllers. Finally. Dean, you want to take this last one, or you want Dan to do it?
Finally, what is going on with Donkey Kong? Where is my disaster day of crisis? Why can't I murder video game ducks in cold blood anymore? That's what I ask all the time. If these are the burning questions that keep you awake at night, know that you are not alone. I just said I was there for you. These are real concerns, and our good friend Kris and myself are here to help you and keep you updated on all things Nintendo and like Dean. Don't miss the Nintendo Report, Ducks, Disasters, Donkey Kongs, and Dean.
For all this and more, be sure to check in with our YouTube channel and follow us at StoneAgeGamer.com.
Can I just point out how fucking funny it was last week? I almost fucking pissed my pants when fucking Ferg, when you posted that the next game in the Super Series is Ranger X, and he posted, I'm just worried that I'm not going to know what happened if I don't play Rangers 1 through 9. And I fucking read that and I was like, fucking Ferg, shut up. Fucking legitimately laughed out loud.
Hi, everybody. We are back and better than ever.
Chris.
Chris. What's up?
Chris.
What's up? Yeah, what's up?
Tell me what's new at Stone Age Gamer.
What's new at Stone Age Gamers? We're having our multicolored November sales. That's what's going on. By the time you hear this podcast, we're going to be smack dab in the middle of our Magenta Friday sale, because we do these silly colored sales that lead up to Black Friday. Get it? It's a whole thing with colors and it's fine. The Magenta Friday, the Turquoise Friday sale is what's going on right now as we're talking. But by next week when this goes up, it'll be Magenta, and then we'll be leading into Purple Friday, which then leads into Black Friday, which is kind of like all the other three ones of those combined. Magenta Friday is going to be the focus is going to be on XYAB products. They're a newer distributor that we started working with this year. So we're going to have a flat discount on all their stuff. There's a couple of other super cool things. Let's see. There's a bundle. We're doing a PlayStation 1 builder bundle. You get $25 off of a PlayStation 1 builder order with a free ultrasonic cleaning and a new console shell. We've got a Saturn Fenrir bundle. Fenrir bundle.
It's my favorite type.
It's a Sega Saturn with a new red and gold shell with a Fenrir ODE installed. New Sega Retrobit 6-button controller, S-video cable, power cable, and 64-gig micro SD card. Super awesome. And a whole bunch of other stuff. 10% off bit boxes. We're doing you get a $10 gift card for every $100 spent. All kinds of good stuff. So check out the Magenta Friday sale at StoneAgeGamer.com, which means it's time for my favorite segment, and your favorite segment, and Dean's favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment. Strap yourselves in for Week Old News. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago.
Okay, now I'm strapped. It was taking a minute. I'm sorry. It was doing that thing like when the seatbelt gets stuck. You're like, I want to move forward a little more. Oh, good. Fuck. There it is. Okay.
I figured it's because you're hairless, and I just assume oiled up at this point. That it's really hard to keep yourself strapped in anything.
Very Hakan. Very Hakan of me. Just walking around all greasy like a pig.
Love that
Or like
guy.
Burt Reynolds in fucking whatever that movie was. I like the way it squishes between my toes.
I bet he has no nose hair in his nostrils either.
Well, he's very dead. So
not Burt Reynolds, man. Hakan. Jesus Christ.
I was going to say, Burt Reynolds, I think, is a skeleton at this point, so you would be correct.
Big hat. It's funny.
It's not my name.
Time Extension reports revisit Sega's groundbreaking Sega Channel service with these newly preserved videos.
It's
the YouTube channel. It's got a whole bunch of video footage of friggin' Sega Channel. It's great. So look at a 2-hour video of the Sega Channel.
Never thought I wanted to do that. Still not entirely sure I want to do that.
Still not entirely sure I want to, but I do fucking love that it is an option.
Right?
I'm
not going to sit here and watch all 2 hours of it, but at the same token, I'm so glad that this is preserved somewhere because the Sega Channel service was so weird and wild. Like here, I'm looking at Pulseman. That didn't get a cartridge release here in North America. That was only on Sega Channel. There's a bunch of Sega Channel gameplay footage of Pulseman. That goes on for a long time.
Not gonna lie, I've watched weirder shit.
If you told me you could...
Tiff and I have put, and not even porn. Like, obviously, I've watched weird porn. I've jerked off to less weird shit. We've watched, what were all the commercials in 1997? Oh, that's on for 3 hours? Sold.
I went to a New Year's party one year, and they did a power hour thing where you just watched, commercials from the year before for, an hour, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking been a part of. I did not enjoy a second.
Really? It's strangely compelling.
For, 5 minutes, and then it repeats, because it's the power hour, so there's only an hour of it, Dan, and it just keeps going. It's the same fucking thing. What if I'm there for 6 hours, Dan? I don't want to see it 6 fucking times.
I know, but I'm just saying, we're watching these commercials and, Mac Tonight pops up, and I'm like, oh, fucking Mac Tonight. That was great.
Right, it was great
how
once.
cheap shit used to be. Oh, now we're doing the Christmas commercials, and the kid comes home, and he makes coffee, and then his parents come home, and they're like, yeah, this is totally normal that we wake up to a stranger banging around down in the bottom in the fucking kitchen, and it smells like shit is cooking, and we don't come down with a bat. We're just like, oh, clearly that's Timmy. Fucking
that doesn't happen to you?
No!
Oh. I mean, you're the weird one, not us.
If you wake up the fucking ass crack of dawn and there are sounds in your kitchen, don't assume it's a relative making coffee.
That's just the Timmy,
way to
Dan.
get murdered.
It's just Timmy.
It's a really good way to be dead.
You don't have your own Timmy? You don't have your own house, Timmy?
No. My kids won't
you're missing
leave
out.
My house.
You're missing out.
Trying. Like, could you guys get friends and go away, please? Sorry, Kris. What else is new? Week old. What else is old? Sorry, we already did what's new. What's old? That's where we're at. Cheese.
Kotaku reports guy who taunted Nintendo about streaming pirated Switch games before release now faces $7.5 million lawsuit.
Fuck around and find out. That's all I got.
This entire story is play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yep.
Really is. They have more money than you.
Apparently, he sent a message to Nintendo. Love y'all. Capitalism is cancer. My channel is being delisted for sharing gameplay videos. This is your reward. Wow. Okay.
But he wasn't just sharing gameplay video. Like, the games weren't out yet, dude.
Yeah,
he pirated unreleased
copies of the games, and he's streaming them. And, like, he taunted Nintendo about it. That was the real, like, push over the edge. Like, wow. You could have just been quiet about it. But you weren't. You specifically taunted them about it. And now you're...
I am, in fact,
I got a bag.
Having an affair with your wife. And I've sent you pictures.
Do something.
Do something about it, you fucks. Oh, you did? Shit. Sorry. Why would you do that? You evil and believe me, I am all on the corporations are evil train, but like also the leopards surely won't eat my face. Oh, they're eating my face. Like, yes, they will.
Who saw that coming? Oh boy. All right, so this one's interesting, not because of the story, not because of the actual story, but trying to decipher what it could mean. Pure Xbox reports Sega is delisting multiple Xbox games this December. This also spreads to multi-platforms. This is not just Xbox, it's everything. They're yoinking all kinds of stuff from all their platforms. Now, apparently the games that are part of Nintendo Switch Online aren't being pulled down, which I have to just assume is this is an agreement they had with Nintendo. But I almost have to wonder...
That they just can't break? Yeah.
Exactly. But it certainly puts the fact that app hasn't been updated in over a year into a bit of a...
makes sense.
Makes a little bit of sense. So what are they up to?
They're making a new console.
Shut the fuck up. They're not making no damn new console.
They're making a new handheld console to complete with the Steam Deck and the Switch. Fuck you. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they try it?
I mean
Sony's going to try it too.
Because it's
because Sony's been doing it, Dan.
Sega doing it is absolute madness, but that's
which
Sega.
Is why they're going to do it.
That's what they're going to do it. Now, I think they're working with. I think they're working on something similar to Atari 50, but for Sega.
Yeah, I would think it's something more like that. The fact that them trying to
less fun.
Well, yeah, but they don't have the money to develop hardware to compete with anyone. But if they want to like get the best of collection with something like that, that's gonna be fucking dope. That's gonna sell like crazy if they do it right.
If they got Digital Eclipse involved in a interactive documentary of the history of Sega and their games, holy shit!
Yeah,
I'm half stocked right now just thinking about it.
That would be really cool.
That would be.
I like my idea better.
I no way.
Just because I want to see what the fuck it would be.
It's a new Sega handheld.
I know that the fucking Sega 50, whatever the fuck, would be awesome. But could be anything behind door number 2, Lois. It could even be a boat.
It could be a boat.
You know how much we've always wanted one of those. I think I've managed to work that in the last 4 or 5 weeks in a row. And that makes me really happy. I'm not going to lie. That's awesome. Have
goals. You set the goal. You achieve the goal. I appreciate that.
I didn't know it was a goal, but apparently I have set that for us.
Goals or goats? Goats?
Yes, I want a goat.
Yes,
we have also clearly established that the goat is the goal.
All right.
Next up, Kotaku reports 20 years later, Konami finally reveals mystery Metal Gear Solid 3 voice actor's identity.
Cool.
I love Metal Gear Solid. You know that. I love Metal Gear Solid. I didn't fucking look at this at all. I didn't care. Should I have cared?
Was it anyone important? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, all right, so I'll just read this to you then. When Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater launched back in 2004, fans quickly realized that Ava's voice actress in the credits, Suzette Minette, was a fake name. But for 20 years, Konami kept the real identity of the person a secret. Now, as part of the marketing push for the upcoming Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater remake, it's been confirmed that Jodie Benson, the same actress behind The Little Mermaid, voiced Ava.
No shit.
All right, that's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. So it was her decision to keep it secret because she was working on a bunch of like Disney and kids properties at the time. And
okay, that makes sense.
It was I think it was David Hayter that would like mention it to her. It was like, hey, you know, you got a lot of good stuff going on. This might get in the way of that.
Maybe
probably,
don't.
You should maybe pseudonym that shit. And they did. And they kept it a
Look
secret for all this time.
Isn't it neat? My secret identity revealed in a tweet. Yeah, you're just going to have to move on. It doesn't get any better than that.
I was trying to rhyme more of the song, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I don't have any more.
Now I want Solid Snake.
I'm the girl.
And
the girl
David
who's
Hayter.
in Metal
Oh my God,
Gear.
David Hayter voicing Sebastian.
I can't even try.
Under the sea.
The prince
Under the sea.
is marrying.
Yeah, but
sea witch
is it
in
David
disguise.
Hayter pretending to try and have a Jamaican accent?
Well, I can't do that part.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to do.
I can't do much of a Solid Snake to begin with, but Solid Snake being Jamaican, I think.
Like, how hard would he commit? Like, that's what I want to know.
I don't think he would commit very hard. I think he would be like, give him an inch, and they swimmer all over you, mon. That would be it.
Roy Campbell is King Triton. Like, you could do this all day. And, like, it's got to be we've got to have Kojima rewrite the script. So there's just, like, a half-hour political intrigue monologues, like,
All of a
yes.
sudden, Ursula's out there talking about the lolly-lee-lee-loo. Like, what? Fuck. Because I didn't even say it right.
So who does Ursula, right? Who does Ursula?
Who does
Maylin?
Ursula? Psycho
Meryl?
Mantis? That one seems pretty obvious.
You like Castlevania, don't you? Oh, God. All right, see, I thought
Body
that was
language.
really fun fact.
Ah.
Really fun. Moving on, Polygon reports Nintendo
I know a lot
Switch
more of these
2
songs than I thought.
will be backwards compatible with Switch games. I'm just going to keep talking. This is great news. We kind of all hoped that this was coming, but now we know for sure. On Twitter, Furukawa said, at today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to the Nintendo Switch as well. Further information will be coming soon, blah, blah, blah.
That's great. It's the most obvious move. You know, like, but Nintendo is going to Nintendo, so.
Right, so, like, yes, Nintendo Switch Online will be compatible with Switch 2. But are they going to, like, start all over with the games again? Or do we just get to take the existing games we have now on NSO and keep building on that? Games are backwards compatible with Switch 2. Are physical games backwards compatible?
Yeah, it is vague.
It is indeed vague. It could be a language thing. It could be any number of things. But either way, it helped their stock because they had, like, you know, not the greatest year because Switch 2 is coming out, not their biggest and brightest software releases this year. Not bad. All things considering the age of the Switch, I was very happy with the Switch's software lineup this year. It's solid stuff. But you know the big guns are being saved for the launch of the next platform, which is fine.
And they should.
Their stock took a bit of hit when they announced they dropped their sales forecast, and then it bumped back up again once they mentioned that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible, because that means people aren't going to stop and think, well, maybe I shouldn't buy this game because it's not going to work on my Switch 2.
Yeah.
So, I like it. Brought me joy.
Yeah. I'm in.
Next up. Time extension. Next generation Dreamcast VMUs are getting an absolutely essential feature. So this is we're talking about the VM2, which I think is being done by 8-bit mods. We've been looking at this for a good long while now. Yes, it's 8-bit mods. I don't know how I forgot about that. Well, because we work with 8-bit mods on a bunch of stuff. We will be carrying the VM2 when it eventually comes out. This is a super cool project that's basically like making the VMU into it's a new VMU that's like just the ultimate memory card solution. And says the humble Dreamcast VMU has recently been upgraded in the form of the VM2, which gets around the issue of storage space by running out by using a micro SD card for save data. We're massive fans of this approach and are pleased to note that VM2 is about to get even better. It's adding automatic game detection and virtual VMU creation for all ODEs, including Terra Onion mode. Furthermore, it will be able to automatically detect games when played from physical discs too, which is marvelous.
There's one question that's not answered, though. Can it play Doom?
I have no doubt that if it can't now, it will soon.
All right.
Soon everything will be Doom.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well just bring that one up next. Go Nintendo reports, hackers make Doom fully playable on Alarmo.
There you go.
It's amazing.
Yep. Didn't take long. Doom is up and running.
It took longer than I thought, honestly.
I think
if we're being honest.
I think the controls were probably the challenge. Because I didn't imagine it. It's like, oh yeah, it is kind of weird. It did take a little bit long time. And then I watched somebody playing it, and they've mapped the controls to the dial on the top of the clock. Madness.
No thanks.
Exactly where they should be, I've thought this entire time.
Yep. I love it.
Makes perfect sense.
Oh boy. Alright, and this another fun story from Time Extension. Polymega gets classic arcade games via physical Polymega Collection series.
Okay. What the fuck is the Polymega again?
That's the system that's got basically you can attach. It's a modular game system. You can attach like different cartridge slots and different DVD add-ons and stuff. Yeah. So they've got these physical games that they're releasing for it. Right. The whole point of the Polymega is to be able to play all your old physical games. But now they're doing basically Evercade style releases. Like here's some arcade games that we're putting on new physical media just for Polymega, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I love this idea. They're
happy to be a part of it.
Orbit, Gravitar, Lunar Lander, Asteroids, Asteroids Deluxe, Super Asteroids, and Missile Command. Space
I like Deluxe
Duel.
much better.
So that's the Asteroids collection has got that. There's another one, the Karate Champ collection's got the Karate Champ Arcade NES and Discs Famicom Disc System. Karate Champ PvP Arcade. Fighter's History, Arcade SNES and Super Famicom, and Fighter's History Dynamite with Karnoff's Revenge, Arcade AES, Neo Geo, CD, and Saturn. And so that's awesome. The two collections they've announced so far. Is one with Data East stuff and one with Atari stuff. That's great. Yay, Polymega, getting physical media. Let's get physical.
Physical. I wanna get
moving right along. Go Nintendo reports Nintendo Network's final player has officially been disconnected. I didn't realize this was still happening.
I know.
Fishguy6564 was single-handedly keeping the Nintendo Network alive by staying online with Mario Kart 7. He had been up and running since the service shuttered back in April, which means his poor 3DS has been chugging along 24/7 to keep services alive.
That's great.
That is pretty great. I'm sad that it finally came to an end, but way to go. Way to keep Nintendo servers up by force for longer.
Way to be, Duck.
Yeah.
Way to be.
Good stuff. Let's see. We don't need to talk about that one. There's a new museum opening up in Germany. So our last news story comes to us from Nintendo Life. The Pokemon trading card game Pocket is reportedly already bringing in the big bucks. I know this will not come as any sort of surprise to anyone, but it's apparently already earning 3 times more per day than Pokemon Go.
Yeah, something like 12 million in the first 3 days of release or some shit.
In Japan alone.
It is bananas, but at the same time, the least shocking thing. That could be this super accessible, easy to get into Pokemon game is making a lot of money.
Pokemon makes money.
Who saw that game coming? I had no idea.
So that was a
idea to be so
short
much.
week-old news segment because there really wasn't a lot of news outside of the impending apocalypse this week. So it was nice and
people were distracted.
Nice and quick one, and we're going to take ourselves another break, and then we're going to come back, and Dean's going to take over business, and I'm going to do my best to stay awake. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around.
The Vestlord is here, clicking and clanging away on the controller for the entertainment of the public. That's right, the premier cyber sports entertainer is back in league with the Electronic Coliseum, where all the cyber sports entertainment happens. The Vestlord is going on a winning spree of likes unknown to get a shot at the coveted Electronic Coliseum Championship. If you want to see if the Vestlord has what it takes, head on over to the show notes for where to find him, or search Vestlord on Twitch or YouTube. Become a fan of the ECC, back the best, cheer for the Vest. See you there.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, Yet Another Star Trek Podcast, at yetanothersTpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi everyone, Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast. Alright, we are back, everybody. We're talking to Dean. He's got some sort of plan, and I'm going to let him... Dean, take the wheel.
We're doing it live. We're doing
Dean
it live.
Dean is my co-pilot.
Alright, yeah,
Jesus.
so...
I'm going to call you Jesus now.
Jesus, I love it.
You didn't already?
Call me Jesus. Yeah, I love it. These nuts. Yes.
Yep. There it was.
Anyway, I came to Kris with a question about a week ago, and I wanted to kind of pick your guys' brains about publications, about what you guys used to read, what you guys are reading now, what kind of makes what you're looking for worthwhile to you guys. And I have a couple questions to break this up, but essentially we're doing a starter kit more or less for where you would go for things now, anyway, in our humble opinion, and like you wanted to read stuff about video games. You can take that for what it's worth. Our opinions aren't worth much, but there are opinions. So, and obviously, if you guys have any sort of 2 cents you want to let us know about, let us know in the SAG chat after you listen to the show. So I figured we'd just dive right into this, and because we are all a little loopy from a long night, I'm going to try and just churn through these. I figured, I have my set of, like, early magazines that I like, but I figured I could ask you guys, like, what are some early magazines and, like, even early websites that you guys remember going to as, like, a source for information, like, back in the, I guess, 90s, 2000s, when looking up, like, games and stuff, and, really
where
anything.
Where did you old people get news?
Well, no, motherfucker, because I did the same thing.
I know, it was just funny. I don't read because reading is for assholes. I kid all no.
That's pooping, Dan.
Oh yes, it's pooping silly. I remember when like fucking IGN was the gold standard, right? Like IGN used to be a really great fucking website, and what was so nice about it was it wasn't just video games that I could go there for. I could get comic book news. I could get, entertainment news. There was just a plethora, which is not how you actually say that. I'm very aware. But you could just get everything you needed from this one fucking place. And it was at one point a really, really great resource.
I remember IGN very fondly. Yeah.
I discovered IGN while I was working at Funcoland, and it was before the GameCube had come out. Right, there had been like some rumors circulating of the Project Dolphin and whatnot, and then they after the full reveal, IGN had posted a like the dimensions of the GameCube that you could print out and like make your own out of paper. I was working at the Maze Landing Funcoland, and I visited the Turnersville Funcoland, and one of the guys that was working there had printed it out and had it on the counter. I was like, where did you get that? And he said, I went to go to this website, cube.ign.com. I fell in love with that place right then and there. It's like, this is great. Because before that, old days, it was Nintendo Power was my favorite as a kid. I loved that entire ecosystem of like Nintendo Power. You felt like you were part of a club, because they had the high score chasing things, and how to take pictures of your TV, and I love.
So that's actually what I wanted to ask. Like, if you guys had any like fond memories of stuff like that, big things that would pull you into specific publications.
Well, Nintendo Power, my friend Jeff had Nintendo Power. I didn't have a subscription when I was a kid, but Jeff did, and I remember going over there, and very specifically the Ninja Turtles arcade game. Show the first screenshots of that, like side by side with the arcade game. I was like, holy crap, that looks really good for what an NES can do. That's amazing. I very specifically remember the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves issue where they were talking about the game, and it was before the movie had come out, and it's like, well, that's pretty wild. Like, they already have a game of this, and the movie's not even out yet? That's weird. I remember finding the, eventually my next door neighbor, James, got a subscription. And we would talk like the trading cards and whatnot that showed up in there. We always thought those were really cool with all the artwork on them. But as like Nintendo Power kind of gave way when I started buying magazines for myself, EGM was my gold standard. GamePro was always really cool. I liked GamePro.
I like GamePro
but
too.
But they were a bit sillier. I always felt like Electronic Game Monthly was like, this is the magazine of record. Like, this is what's really going on in the game industry. And especially around the years of Donkey Kong Country, where the magazines, massive. There are hundreds of pages. They were so humongously thick magazines. And I adored those issues. But
as continuing your well-established propensity for being a size queen.
Yeah, it's what I do. Size
also,
matters.
though, EGM had Sushi X.
Yes. The rumor mills. God, I learned so much fancy information from EGM.
He was just like, it was a cool character in this video game magazine somehow. right? That like they established, and it was just kind of fucking neat. EGM was really, really good. I always preferred GamePro.
I like GamePro. Growing up, that was my one that I gravitated towards.
I was just a little more fun.
Yeah.
You know, like it felt a little, you know, I agree 100% with what you said, Chris, of like, this is the magazine of record.
Yeah.
But like, fuck that. Tell me what's fucking fun. You know what I mean?
I do see both sides of the coin, because honestly, like now, if you gave me that sort of magazine like EGM, I'd probably be very enthralled by that, because I do like reading the interviews, hearing about development, you know, hearing from the actual people that are working on these games and all that. Where GamePro is just more like you should be excited because this game's fucking cool and here's why. But a little more general, I guess, if anything.
One of the sorry, I moved away from the microphone. Now I have to move back like chocolate rain. Sorry. One of the things that Tiff and I used to do a whole lot, like when we first started dating, because we're basic bitches, was go have like coffee dates at Barnes & Noble, right? Because you go and they got the Starbucks inside, and you go get your double whatever. I'm a mocha chip or a Java chip guy myself with a double shot of espresso. Because I like to have ice cream and caffeine and then have to shit like pretty quickly. But we would then just go get a fuck ton of magazines and bring them back over into the cafe area and sit and read them. And I always liked finding video game stuff in non-video game magazines, right? So like finding Fangoria talking about a horror video game that's coming out. I just always thought it was really cool, because video game journalists write about video games in a very particular way, right? Like, even all the different personalities that come through and all of that, there's just like a style when you write for a video game magazine. And that style is obviously different when you write for fucking Fangoria or whatever, you know, or like Sci-Fi magazine or SFX or whatever. So getting to read about video games in those sorts of publications, I always thought was like really, really cool. And the kind of thing you didn't experience unless you had access to, you know, what is not a library, but everybody treated it fucking like one. Because we were certainly not the only people with a bunch of different magazines that we were definitely not going to buy, even a little bit.
No, I mean, fair. So one question, and this is probably going to be a little harder to answer depending on like how serious you are with reading these, but did you guys like have any favorite like authors or anything growing up that you would follow, or even now that you guys follow?
All right, so back in the Nintendo Power days, I always looked forward to reading the little blurbs from Dan Osen. He was a guy that worked in I think he worked in translation to a degree on old Nintendo stuff. He wrote a lot of Nintendo's older instruction manuals, including like the Donkey Kong Country instruction manual. And he wrote in Nintendo Power. Obviously, there was Howard Phillips. Howard Phillips was the guy with the bow tie. He was kind of like the unofficial mascot for Nintendo Power,
right?
Back in the old days. In the IGN years, I really liked the IGN and Nintendo Voice podcast, but I always appreciated Craig Harris's writing in his reviews. I always thought Craig Harris's was good stuff. Matt Casamassina as well. I enjoyed his writing, and I tend to agree with a lot of his opinions and stuff. And they did a great job hosting the podcast as well. Eventually, I started listening to the show again when Jose Otero took over. Jose's I was also a big fan of Jose's work. Getting back to Destructoid, I liked Topher Cantler and Chad Anselmo. I thought they did good stuff. And I know Chad, I was following him on Twitter, and he's working for Square Enix now, which is really cool. He was working for Nintendo for a number of years. I think that's Jose Otero went over to actually got a job at Nintendo as well. Also at Destructoid, I was a big fan of Jonathan Holmes' writing, who we were just talking about earlier. We were fortunate enough to have him on the show. And also in the Destructoid arena of things, I've always been just a tremendous fan of previously Jim Sterling, currently Steph Sterling. Their work is just I don't think I've ever heard anybody who is more of an artist with profanity than Steph Sterling. The insults that they're able to come up with, the way they use those words. Besides just reading the stuff that they would write, there was a certain point after. So, like, at the early days of IGN, and then eventually that stuff gave way to sites like Game Trailers, Screw Attack. God, Screw Attack breaks my heart so much. Screw Attack. I was a really big fan of Screw Attack, and now Stuttering Craig is just not somebody I'm a fan of anymore. That really breaks my heart. But I loved the Side Scrollers podcast during those old days, and I remember the Destructoid podcast. They had a couple of them. There was Retro Force Go, which Chad Consomo was on, I think, and that was their retro game podcast. And they had their current gaming podcast, I think, just called Podtoid, and that had Anthony Birch, Topher Cantler, Jim Sterling. I think Adam Dork was like a producer or something. There was this just absolutely hysterical. I remember so specifically working at GameStop at the time, and I would listen to that podcast at night when I was supposed to be at home. But I was a store manager, and there was work that needed to get done that couldn't get done during the work hours, and that's the way that they ran things at GameStop, which is a terrible company. That they expect these things to get done, and since you're a salaried manager, you just have to get these things done on your own time because you don't work hourly. So you have to stay there and work. So I would stay at the mall all night long, doing these absolutely absurd projects they would have us doing with old Xbox 360 games. But what made the nights go better was listening to those guys run those podcasts. Like, I think Jonathan Holmes was on it from time to time. I just remember laughing my ass off about briefcases full of chicken McNuggets and the sheer absurdity of the KFC Double Down, and just wonderfully hysterical moments that they had, like talking about going into restaurants and demanding that they double down various other foods, like not just the KFC sandwich, like go to a pizza joint and to double down the pizza, like put it on a ham steak or something. It's just as long as there's meat bread, that's what matters. And that helped keep me informed on the games that I don't play, because that was an important thing about being a video game store manager, at least to me. When working in video game retail, it's important to not just know the games that you play. It's important to know about everything else that's going on. Back when I worked at Funko Land, I would obviously look at Game Informer, which has always been a fucking rag. Yes, I'm sad it's closed because it was the last one of the old guard. But
we all agree, though.
That magazine's always been a fucking rag. But I would educate myself on the football games every year, and to the best of my ability, the wrestling games, because like those were those things that would come out, and there was always this competition between those different things, and it was those magazines that helped me get the information I needed to know, like, well, what this year, is it Madden or is it Game Day or is it fucking Quarterback Club? Surprise, it was never Quarterback Club. It was never ever
Shocker.
Club. It was Madden and Game Day and then 2K. Like the rest of them, like, no, the rest of them were there, but they weren't competing. They weren't in the same league. And you had the wrestling stuff. You'd be like, well, how's Attitude? How does it compare to No Mercy? Like, well, they're pretty different fucking games. You want cool ass wrestling games? Get an N64. But I learned a lot of that stuff through the gaming magazines of the time, because I even then, as somebody working in the stores, I couldn't always play every game. But it's one of those weird things when I think back to my life and the way that my life functions. I am video games almost 24 hours a day, and I've never gotten sick of it. I remember working at Funko Land, and I don't remember who was talking to me about it. Somebody said that I was eventually, don't do what you love as your job, because then eventually you're going to hate the thing that you love. And I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of video games. I don't think I'm ever going to do it. And I've been in video games, living and breathing them. I talk about them all day long. I write about them. Everything I do is about video games almost. And I've never gotten fucking sick of them.
The problem was never video games with the retail. It was the retail part of it. That was the problem.
Yeah, the problem was always the people.
Yeah.
There's this one guy, Itchy, who would come into our store. I don't remember his fucking name. We called him Itchy. He had this scraggly-ass beard. Nasty, nasty beard. He would come in and he'd be like, y'all got this game? Is it good? And he would do that to every single PlayStation game.
I hated that.
Everyone. He would be in the store for like 45 minutes to half an hour. And then he'd come up to the counter with one of the games and be like, pull some like dirty-ass cracked PlayStation games out of his disgusting malthy bag and be like,
I want to trade these in.
I'm going to give you these and I'm going to take this one. And we're like, that's not how this works. He's like, it says you do trades. I'm making a trade. And like, I'm not making fun of him. That's how he talked. This is a frighteningly accurate depiction of the way this guy talked. Ugh. So yeah, magazines are awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fucking say ditto to everything you said. And
I was a big fan of GameSpot back in the day, GameSpot.com. I used to follow them a lot instead of IGN, and that's where I found my favorite guys. I used to follow Jeff. I guess I do still follow him quite a bit as Jeff Gertzman and
Jeff Gertzman, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeremy Parrish from One Up.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh, Jeremy Parrish. That guy's
I used to follow Ryan Davis, R.I.P. You know, he used to be great. God, there were a bunch of them back then. That whole crew that like swapped over to Giant Bomb after that, I thought they were great for years. Giant Bomb was another site I followed for a very long time till they got bought out.
Giant Bomb and like Rooster Teeth, like weren't they together somewhere?
Or am I
not? Did Rooster Teeth, like, they had a podcast at some point, right?
Oh, I'm sure Rooster Teeth did have a podcast. I think Matt Much used to tell me about their podcast for a while.
Podcast back in the day.
But the thing is, Rooster Teeth was more of like an animation website where GameSpot was, that's what they did. Weren't they, I think they were like a CNET subsidiary.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
At least for a while. I don't know where things lie anymore. I don't know where even most of these guys work nowadays. I just follow them on fucking whatever social media. But they used to be great. And I mean, a lot of these guys that I mentioned are still active, besides Ryan Davis, sadly. But I always found that, like, not latching on, but, like, finding someone who has similar taste to you is always good. And Jeff Gertzman, from the beginning, I always was like, if that guy likes something, that typically means I'm going to like it. I do have a couple more questions, and it's nothing too crazy. One of them was, and this is mainly because of the stuff, I don't know if you guys followed what happened with the completionist, like, last year or 2 years ago.
We did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, in that
Thanks
space, in that space,
sorry,
there's a lot of content creators. Now, do you feel that like content creators are a one-to-one replacement for like critics? Like, I mean, do you feel that they came up the same way and YouTube is just the evolution for what writing was, or do you feel like there's still a space for like a more professional form somewhere in there, and like, everyone can coexist?
I think writing is a more professional form.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that to diminish YouTube content.
No, it's just different. It's very different.
I would like to diminish some.
Hold on. I'm getting there.
Some YouTube content creators.
I'm getting there. I don't say that to diminish YouTube creators. However, there are a number of YouTube creators that have, over the last 10 years or so, figured out the grift. And the grift has grown to make YouTube content creators as a whole sort of fucking non-starters for me. I found like one or two that I like, and they mostly talk about old shit because the rest of it is has fallen into this, whether you want it in your algorithm or not, has fallen into this rage bait stuff that is just tilting at fucking windmills, man. Like, you're yelling about shit that doesn't actually exist. And there's a slippery slope here that I'm trying not to go down. Because there's no joy in it anymore. And it's just become this sort of snake eating its fucking tail situation of rage and engagement. So more rage and more engagement and ad revenue. And now I just got to spend. I might have started off angry about a particular thing, and maybe I had a point 800 videos about the same fucking topic ago, but now I'm just screaming to scream for everybody else who's screaming. Whereas there are writers out there that are not getting the engagement that the YouTube videos do because they don't do that shit because they're actually doing their fucking job. You know?
Yeah, there was actual journalism happening a long time ago.
Right.
This extends beyond just the video game industry. This is everywhere. There used to be journalism. There used to be like seeking out actual news stories and finding the best way to present them. And then the internet kind of ruined a lot of that. Social media just kind of ruined all that by saying, we'll just put headlines here. Nobody needs context for anything. Just here's the words, not disseminated in any sort of way that's going to make it interesting to people, not discerning of whether or not things are true, whether or not things are false. It's more about airing grievances. And I mentioned Stuttering Craig earlier. Craig we talked about him on the show a few weeks ago, the real Game Awards and the sheer absurdity.
Yeah, just nonsense.
It's very disappointing to see. There's so much positivity to be had out there. There's so much interesting stuff to be written about. There's so much history. There's so much even fun, interesting news to be reported on in some sort of positive way. But there's no money in that, and nobody's willing to spend money
not currently
to make that happen.
Yeah,
and so
I do think we are going to head back there.
Oh God, I hope so. I would love that because right now
hate's just not sustainable. You just can't for that long.
Well, no, not even just that. I'm talking the concept of paying somebody to create content. Like, all they need at a certain point. Websites can just do it for free with AI. Just do AI generated. This is the official press release from Capcom. Run it through AI and make a report on it. Go. And now we've created content. And it's that kind of schlock, that kind of absolute nonsense that or unscripted, just disseminating. Like, we have a podcast. That's the point of this. But there's the biggest YouTubers, like the ones that just will absolutely, without a doubt, always get hundreds of thousands of views within minutes of a news story. It's just like, here's some dude in a backwards baseball cap just talking about the news by himself. What are we doing here?
Making shit up. And I think your point.
I've been fantasizing about this for months now.
Oh,
and I have this.
Hold on, let me take my pants off because maybe I have to.
The fuck are you wearing pants for this late at night? It's after midnight. Jesus Christ, Dan! Some bush league shit right there.
I'm fully dressed. I like to leave something for the imagination
on this audio podcast.
I like to make you work for it.
I've had this. This has been in my brain. And I want to do it. I have no idea how. There's no way for me to do it with my current means, my time capabilities. But there needs to be a nightly news wrap-up show. Like Bob from Retro RGB does a great job, but he does like a weekly recap kind of a thing. But like, I go through the news all day, every day. Every news story that's coming through, that I set them aside for week-old news and just generally keep myself informed on what's going on in the game industry. But like, boy, to do an actual nightly news show, one that's professional, like fucking remember X Play? You'd watch that show and they'd be like talking talking about shit. And like, yes, you go back and look at that stuff now, and it's horribly offensive. And you even go back to a lot of the early Angry Video Game Nerd stuff, kind of stuff. You go back, read old issues of Electronic Game Monthly, or God forbid Game Fan. Game Fan was so cool and underground. You go back and read some of the shit that was being spewed in that. Like, we've grown a lot as a society, or at least I think there's a
lot of dropping of the hard R.
Yes, really
a lot of old shit that
a lot
now
of F words. Not just
now
the one,
where you
multiple.
No,
F-words.
not fuck. We don't say, the one I don't say, and I say everything, but not on the podcast.
To the point, I would absolutely love for there to be, because one of my favorite shows, and I know it is deeply flawed show, but I get so much out of it. One of my favorite shows to go back to is Newsroom, because I love the general notion of a team of people working together to inform the public. Like that's the point, is to work together to properly inform the public, because when you have an informed public, you don't run into what we just ran into. And that, when I think back to what the video game industry used to be and how exciting it was to do things like E3, when those presentations were getting bigger and more exciting, there was all this excitement around them, and the goal wasn't to cynically, I found out this information, right? I found out what Nintendo is going to announce in 15 minutes, and I'm going to post about it right now. This doesn't bring anyone any good. This is getting them news about a video game 15 minutes earlier than they would have had it otherwise. There is absolutely no real value in this, except to take the fun out of something for a tiny amount of video game clout, right? Finding those leaks and trying to like get information out into the world that isn't necessarily doing anyone any good, other than this gets me the credit that whoever's putting this together, that Sony is going to put together this presentation. They've had an entire team working on, this is what we've been working on, this is how we want to present it, and my purpose is to ruin that for my personal clout, right? The journalism didn't used to be about that. It used to be, I'm going to show up to the presentation, and then I'm going to disseminate that information and put that out to the public so that they can make informed decisions about what they think of this stuff, right? It's not about me saying, well, this doesn't have enough big titty anime girls, so it's clearly woke nonsense, and you should all boycott it. Like, we're not fomenting some sort of like big group of people to be like, no, you're taking them away from us, you're changing things. It used to be about telling these stories, and we didn't have the medium to do it back then. There wasn't a video game channel on TV until freaking X-Play, and that was insanely flawed. But we have the opportunity now to just throw something up on the internet on a regular basis. If there was a team that was like, it could actually put together something like that on a daily basis, like, here's an actual news brief, here's what happened in the video game industry, here's what we've been able to find out. You could do that. There's enough going on in video games now that you could absolutely do that on a nice nightly basis. And
I think it would fail miserably now, though. I don't think we're there.
Utterly miserably. No,
I think we're going to get back there. I
hope so. Because like I look at what I do, the things the YouTube content that I am most proud of, which is just completely and unabashedly inspired by game trailers, retrospectives, because they were so interesting back in the day. These retrospectives that I did on the Zelda stuff and the stuff I'm doing on Mario, I'm doing real research on it, and it's easier for me because I know a lot of it, because I lived through it and I've been obsessing over it for years. But I still have to stop and look things up to make sure I'm getting my facts straight and learn all kinds of new things. I'm so proud of the work that I've done on that, and I have so much fun doing it, and I think it's so incredibly interesting, and it's some of the worst performing content on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It just straight up is.
Well,
and when I go to YouTube and look for history videos, when I say I want to look for what's another Mario history video, and the ones that come up that have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of reviews, they almost always inevitably start with, hey guys, so this is what I'm looking back on. I used to play this shit when I was a kid. It was super cool, and now it's just stream of consciousness. It's not scripted. It's not thought out. It's not researched. This is what came out of my brain at this particular moment in time. And that's what gets all the views. And because that's the easy part, right?
I will say that, yes, that absolutely, there is a side to the internet, and with games, that is that, because you're right. It exists, and it's a very large part of the problem. But I feel that is largely to do with the age of the content creators making the actual content and, like, you know, their maturity into it. I look at other content creators that are out there.
Zoomers are the worst. Get off my lawn. I got a goat.
Anyway, so, you know, when you look at some of the older content creators that have been around a little while longer, and they've maybe transitioned away from, you know, video games into just maybe doing current events sort of stuff, they do offer, like, video essays that are hours long that get millions of views. But, you know, a lot of the time, these are people that have been around a long time. What I'm trying to get at is, like, your stuff definitely has value, and, you know, just because it's underperforming doesn't mean that it's bad or that people are overlooking it. You know, it has a lot to do with these shitty algorithms and, like, setting things to the, you know, right amount of times, having the right hashtags and stuff. And unless all that lines up, you know, it's just a drop in a bucket. And that's not to say that you shouldn't do it. And obviously, I know I'm not swaying you one way or the other with any of my words, but I'm just throwing this out there that, you know, one day, you know, someone's going to look at that and be like, shit, all of that was incredibly well put together, helpful. I don't know what I would have done without looking at that video. And if you did that for just one person, that video already accomplished its purpose. Like, if you have 3,000 views on a video, and you helped literally one person out of those 3,000 views, you did what you set out to do. You taught someone something they already didn't know. And I feel that is, you should be stressed, because, you know, we've been doing this for a long time, and we put out stuff very thanklessly for a very long time. And I just don't stop doing stuff like that, because, you know, it's important.
I'm not doing it for the views. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not
for the
doing
brand.
It for the views. It's
brand.
The point is that I look at it and I say that I see what kind of content gets the views and what kind of content doesn't get the views. And it didn't used to be that way, right? You didn't sell your magazine by being the most hateful one. You sold your magazine by presenting the most accurate information in the best way possible. Because if you printed something...
Sometimes, but then also sometimes you tell people that you can get Lara Croft to be naked, and you sell a record number of copies.
Right. But then
and none of us realize it's the April issue.
Right. Now, it's
but you still made some money.
April Fool's thing, that's another thing. But if you report bad information, or if you start, you know, reviewing incomplete games so that you can get your review out earlier, and then you're reviewing content that's either not in the game or stuff that's been patched out before the game actually shipped, like, you would actually lose sales if you lost your credibility, right? Like, there were consequences to reporting false information.
Yeah.
Now it's the complete opposite. You're rewarded for just saying whatever you think is going to hype things up or get people angriest or be the most
think we're going back to a larger topic that we should probably stay away from. But
there's an interesting thing there in what you're saying, Kris, because the fact is that we used to operate from a foundational reality, and we no longer have a foundational reality. We have multiple. We are fucking living the multiverse. Like, it's weird to think about it in those terms, but if you do, everything that's happening in the world right now starts to make a lot more sense. I struggle with this with my kids all the time, they come downstairs and they say shit that they heard somebody on YouTube say about this game looks stupid, or that movie sucks, or this character is this, or XYZ, and I say, all right, did you play it? Did you watch it? Did you read it? And if your answer to any of those things is no, then you are not allowed to come down and give an opinion on it. You're not. And I believe that very, very strongly. I think the new Venom movie is going to be fun to watch because I have watched the other two Venom movies, and while they're not very good movies, I think they're going to be fun I think it's going to be fun based on the amount of fun that I had with the other two movies, because I fucking just love what Tom Hardy is doing with Venom, and Bosie How Mrs. Chen is very fucking funny to me. Let me fix your nose so I can break it again. All that shit. But my kids came down and they were like, sorry, Dad, that new Venom movie sucks. I'm like, no, you didn't. I didn't take you to see it.
When did
you
you
don't
watch
fucking
it?
know that it sucks. When did you watch it? You didn't fucking watch it. Well, I watched this video. I don't give a fuck what some dude is saying about it, and I don't give a fuck if he said it was great either, because that person is not a trained critic, right? And what we do on this podcast that we've been doing for 10 fuck years at this point, we're not trained critics either. I think we have established a certain amount of credibility with our listeners based on the just decades of experience that we have playing games, but we've also never presented ourselves as de facto opinions on literally anything we talk about. Whereas
even the reviews that I write for Nintendo Force, I always write them. I always think it's important that this is my opinion. And
right.
I try to keep them as professional as possible, but you also always have to take into consideration that this is like this, the Mario and Luigi Brothership, right? Just came out this week.
Yeah.
And everybody was ragging on IGN because this guy didn't like it. It's like, well, read the review. He made his points. It doesn't mean that it's true. It means that this is what his experience of this game was. And if you have experienced games similar to the way this person does, you may not enjoy this game.
Right.
Yeah, I
but
do
you're not
agree
some
that,
dude who just got on there and didn't. The issue that I have, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Dean,
That's
just
okay.
to finish my thought and then I'll shut up. The issue that I have, though, with a lot of this and where it comes from is that my kids come down and give definitive opinions on content they haven't experienced. And they are receiving those, their views are colored by people who have also not experienced the content. You know what I mean? Because YouTube is nothing if not lousy with people saying shit about things they have no business talking about because they haven't played it, they haven't read it, they haven't watched it, they haven't experienced it.
All right.
And then that becomes the story.
So let's
right? Where it didn't in magazines, to get to your larger point, Dean, that wasn't possible because those were journalists that wouldn't have had a job if they did that.
So to wrap it all up, since we're getting pretty late here, we're
just getting started, Dean.
Oh, great.
Now I'm angry.
What would you guys do to not remedy this, but maybe like, is there something that you would want to look for now that would maybe entice you to view something? Are there people you still look to get like this sort of information? Is there even on the YouTube space, is there anything that can be done, or people you follow there that you'd like to let people know about? Some little gem.
I'm going to jump in first because I think you would have more to say about this, Kris, because this is your job. Currently, I don't think the milk is out of the udder, the toothpaste is out of the tube. The only way to get away from any of this is to eliminate social media. social media is sociologically, psychologically the worst thing that has ever happened to our society. Full stop. I say that as someone with an advanced degree in psychology. It is the worst thing that has happened to our society. And there's really no going back from the damage that it has done and continues to do until we reach an inflection point and decide, as Kris has done this week, that enough is enough and my mental health is what I'm going to prioritize, and what I need to do that is eliminate social media. So there is no going back, and unfortunately, I think where that leads us is to find smaller and smaller tribes to then, and that's it. That's what we interact with. You know what I mean? Like, I watch Kris's videos when he puts them up. I watch So I Finished a Video Game in his 6-hour video on fucking Onimusha. Like, just on the legacy and the series of Onimusha, you know? And like, there's a couple, like, Marvel Snap creators, like Jeff Hoogland. But I don't even watch his videos. I just look at the deck list. Like, I fast forward because I gotta click on it.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. So, like,
I'm sorry.
Because no. And I'm not really trying to poke holes or hear anything.
No. I'm sorry for misunderstanding your question. Is what I mean. I'm not sorry for what I said. It was brilliant.
Because, you mentioned the Marvel Snap creators. I'm not talking so much about, like, content creation, because, yes, that does exist, and that's always going to be there for specific games. But I mean, if we're talking about, like, at large, we don't have things like, I mean, IGN and GameSpot, all those, Giant Bomb, they pale in comparison to what they even once were, if they exist at all. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, could someone, I guess what Kris was trying to say, would it be feasible for something like a series or even a nightly news segment beyond for video games that is more like just what you would normally see on the news, maybe even more just unbiased and more informed,
with a puppy on a surfboard at the end of it? That's kind of where I was going with that, though. Is that ultimately, as well you should. I don't think that's possible. Okay. Because I think once we get to a point where we're comfortable in our bubble, because make no mistake, every single one I'm not in a fucking bubble. Yes, you are. If you're screaming you're not in a bubble, you're in the biggest bubble. And it's just really hard to fucking see because it's a bubble. It's a John Cena bubble. Once we get to our bubbles, though, we stay there. And we're not interested in new shit. I fully 100% have such a healthy distrust of technology, which I also love, but I have such a healthy distrust about the honesty of numbers within tweets, videos, articles, the whole fucking thing. I don't trust any of it. I don't. And I don't think that we're interested in new shit. I think we're getting to this point, as evidenced by what happened Tuesday night, of I know what I know, I'm comfortable where I am, and I don't want to hear anything else.
Okay.
That's pessimistic as fuck, which is not me. And I don't think it's going to be like that forever, but I do think that's where we currently are.
Choose to do this.
All right, so I mentioned earlier Bob from Retro RGB. He does a lot of work as far as, like, putting together his weekly roundups of just, like, the important stuff that's happening in the retro video game space, and I think he's doing some really great work. I think that's not exactly an under the radar channel to mention, but I do think it's worth mentioning. The one that I think is it's considerably more underground than it should be. He's been doing this for a good long while. I just want to make sure I have the name correct.
Oh, for
here.
sure,
He's
for
got
sure.
a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is called Retro Revisited, and he does these once a month, these retro news roundups, and I've been watching him for years. I asked him to come on the show a long time ago, and it never really panned out. He seems like a relatively private person, but his name is Simon, and he does these just outstanding monthly recaps of everything that's going on in the retro game space, and that includes every fan translation, every homebrew, every old game that's getting a modern re-release. He has it all broken down on these different segments, and I look forward to it every month. It's on the first of, almost always on the first of the month, every month without fail. And they're just these wonderfully well put together videos. I think he just does a fantastic job. And that's a great way of ingesting news in the retro video game space in particular. Like the stuff that I don't really follow or even care about all that much, like homebrew stuff is really interesting, but I don't really follow it all that closely. But every month, it's like 13 or 14 Commodore 64 games new people are making, and it's like absolutely wild to me that happens. So yeah, Retro Revisited. Guy's name is Simon. He's just does fantastic work. But yeah, as far as like, could somebody do something better than what's out there now? I think that stuff probably exists and we just don't know about it because you can't find it. There's too much noise. There's noise everywhere. It's just a constant noise machine because noise is what gets everybody's attention. And like Dan said, we're thinking back to what happened on Tuesday night. Like, there's so much factual information that's just constantly drowned out by noise. And I think that's part of what's made people in general so much less informed. Is a lack of curiosity, a lack of willing to move outside of the space that is like, no, this is my bubble, and this is where I'm getting my information from, and this information makes me feel good, and there's no better feeling than being right and being on the winning team. So this is where I'm at, as opposed to being curious and looking at new sources and trying to find something that works for you, that actually gives you information in a way that even a way that you might not even be super comfortable with at first. Just like, here's a new way of getting information and stuff that you can actually trust that's been sourced. Coming up with a way to create something like that breaks through the noise. I mentioned the show The Newsroom before. That's a huge part of the plot of that show. Is the whole purpose is this is a news organization that is deciding to do the news, because they haven't for years, and nobody's been doing the news. It's been entertainment. It's been, how do we get eyes on it? So it used to be this was our responsibility. This was the government allowed us to have the airwaves for this period of time to inform people so that we could have an informed population and move on to do the great things that made this country so wonderful in the first place. And there's such an interesting parallel between that stuff at large and what's been happening in the video game space. And I was talking to Karen about it, and as soon as I opened my mouth, she wanted to roll her eyes, but very quickly it went opposite to that, because when you look at what's happening in the video game space right now, when you look at the loudest voices in the gaming sphere right now, the Gamergate 2.0, your Grums, your Smash JTs that have just been rising up with these increasing. Like 6 months ago, Smash JT was had a fraction of the audience. All of a sudden, he
and
latched
then
on
we
to this
mentioned him.
stuff. Then we mentioned him. He takes off.
Fuck.
No, but he latches on to this negativity stuff that's happening, all this Gamergate stuff, and now he's just propelled himself just astronomically. His audience is just tremendous now, and that's the noise that you can't cut through, because that's what shows up. That's what makes money. That's what gets eyeballs on it, which means that's where YouTube's algorithm puts the ads, which means that's where the money is going. You create something that's actually entertaining and informing. I don't think it can break through the noise right now. I think there needs to be a way to cull the noise. And I think you're 100% right, Dan, that social media is they're just the worst thing that's ever happened to us. On
because
one hand,
there's no penalty.
Exactly. There is no penalty.
It doesn't matter what you say.
Whatever nonsense you want. You can make up stories. I mean, that's where...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's where, again, I'm not going to talk specifics, but that's where that thing came from, and that was espoused as fact. This is a thing that's happening, and then people got hurt. And it was because it was never sourced. It was just a thing that was said out loud. Well, that somebody said it, so I'm going to say it here on a very large stage, and it doesn't matter what happens. I've gotten my point across, which is that I want to demonize something. I want to say this is wrong. And then it doesn't matter if it's true anymore, because now a narrative has been created. But there have been consequences for that, real consequences. People got hurt, but not consequences for the people that said it. Right. Now, we've seen that in all sorts of, to take it back to something less quote-unquote serious, look at what's happened in the world of the Star Wars fandom. It's a perfect example to show the Acolyte. I was just going to
say the Acolyte.
Right? The Acolyte. The people that were cast in that, the cast members of that show, have been under just actual hate campaigns for fucking Star Wars.
For making a good fucking show.
Yeah.
I said it. Is it a great show? Close.
Close. There's
it's pretty close to fucking great.
It was a very entertaining show. But their people have been legitimately harassed for being part of that television show.
For things that aren't actual. For things that aren't, if you study film and television criticism, are not actual things that, like, none of that, you could just say, I didn't like it, because it didn't do the Space Wizards the way I would have. And that's okay that you didn't like it.
Great.
But to then go further
kind of discourse
into that stuff and then just make up shit whole cloth that didn't fucking whatever lesbian agenda weird thing that was fucking happening, like, not all strong powerful women. I know there were lesbians in the show, I'm not saying that, I did watch it, but not all strong powerful women in television shows are promoting this fucking, like, weird agenda thing that you're talking about. Like, strong powerful women exist in the world, they just do. It's okay. Shut up.
The fundamental misunderstanding that feminism is about female superiority, not equality, and that's
because they're saying the quiet part out loud. I'm scared you're going to do to me what I've done to you,
fellas. That's way off the reservation.
But we didn't though, because this is to get to your point.
Yeah, this is the answer to your question.
You know,
this is why something like that can't break through, because of this noise. This is what's happening right now, is that in the video game space specifically, there's so much loud noise, and there are definitely outlets that I think are doing very solid work. I was pretty distressed to hear about the layoffs at Destructoid. You mentioned more layoffs at Kotaku. Kotaku is very much a mixed bag. Like, sometimes Kotaku does phenomenal work, and sometimes Kotaku is like, oh, what the hell? But, you know, you follow the people that you follow. I've been enjoying Hookshot Media, I think is what the actual conglomerate's called. It's Damon McFerrin's. We get a lot of the news that we talk about here on the show. Time Extension, Pure Xbox, Push Square, and Nintendo Life. They're pretty great sites. Yeah, they're all, you know, conglomerated. They're all part of the same ownership, and they have these different channels that focus on, you know, the different platforms, and then Time Extension for retro in general. And that seems to have picked up a decent amount of steam, and they're not involved in anything dramatic. At least not on their end, it seems to be. Like, yeah, people love to try to drag people into drama. That's another thing that happens a lot in the retro space. There's a whole story that I think we touched on last week about the translation of a Saturn game. There's lots of, in the FPGA space, there's lots of very nasty drama that goes back and forth. And it gets reported on to an extent, but they don't really necessarily get dragged into it. So I will say that there is there is hope for that kind of journalism in the video game space. I do think that there is, but it's a very difficult thing to latch onto because, you know, when we were growing up, I always aspired to be a video games journalist. It's what I wanted to do with my life. But that used to be a career that you could look forward to. Now it's my side hustle because that doing actual journalism and the stuff that I do, like writing reviews and whatnot for Nintendo Force, that is the side hustle because you can't make a career out of that anymore because nobody wants to pay for that information because cheaper, worse information is available for free.
All right.
Sorry. So one last thing. I thought I was going to cough really loud into the microphone, so I moved away. One last thing that I will say as well is also stop relying on journalists to a degree. And I know shit's expensive, you know, but take more chances with your gaming. I think, you know, just is a healthy thing to do. Watch a trailer and make your own decision. And sometimes you might be out fucking $60. You know, you might. It happens. Sometimes you get bubsy. You know, and it's okay. You know,
but don't let the comment section comment section form your opinion for you.
Right. Like, experience the thing. You know, try the fucking thing. Eat. It goes with everything in life. Watch the fucking movie if you think it looks good. It doesn't matter what fucking anybody else thinks. If you think a movie looks good, watch the movie. Eat the fucking weird thing. You know, be more adventurous within your own life. We've gotten very, very reliant as a society on numbers and critic reviews and scores and user reviews. And this is certified fresh. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Like, you got to tell me that the new Marvel movie is or is not certified fresh. Guess what? I already bought my ticket. It does, like, I'm going to fucking see it because I want to see it. That's media that I want to engage with. And if I'm out $18 because I paid for a ticket to go see the Eternals and I should have just waited till it came home, then okay. But you're allowed to have bad experiences too. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay that you tried something and it sucked.
Or
That's
even
fine.
It's okay that you tried something and it was good. Like, not everything needs to be the greatest thing that you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget that feeling of Karen and I walking out of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and being like, oh, that was an Indiana Jones movie. And then the next day finding out that everybody hated it and it was the worst thing that's ever happened.
Nope,
it was an abomination.
No, it wasn't.
It was an Indiana Jones movie. It was
100%
aliens, but that's, you know, the interdimensional beings. Is that any less weird than the Wrath of God in a box? I don't think it is.
No, not even a fucking little bit. That's actually more plausible. If you want to get technical about shit, that's actually way more realistic.
But if we had been, is one of the things we always went out of our way to see things as quickly as possible, because if we had waited and been informed by the general consensus, we would have missed out on a lot of things and probably would have enjoyed certain things less, because when you go and see something and you know everybody else hates it already, like that tends to, at least for me personally, that tends to taint not necessarily my opinion on it, but it makes it a more uncomfortable experience, because like, well, what if I do love this thing and everybody else hates it and I must be wrong, right? Or I'm going to get made fun of for voicing my opinion. Like, because one of the things that was potentially great about social media was the opportunity to go online and talk to other people that also like the things that you do and share that joy with strangers. That's a fun thing. It was one of the things I always liked about working in video game retail, you know?
It's why polyamory doesn't work, Chris. It's why polyamory doesn't work. It's a great idea on paper. It's fucking impossible to pull off. It's too many fucking cooks in the kitchen, man. I remember specifically sitting in, I'm sorry I cut you off. I realized I did that. I'm sorry. I remember sitting, but I'm still going to keep going because I'm a dick. In the theater,
actually cut me off. I wasn't saying anything.
I'm sorry. We were
I
sitting
made a noise, and it sounded like it was going to be words, and then it wasn't. So
I jumped. Okay.
Keep going.
Sitting in the theater, turning to Tiff as we were watching episode 8 because one of my very, very good friends, Crispy, who I respect his opinion, was like, I just saw episode 8. It was the biggest piece of shit Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Let me tell you all the reasons I'm going to take a fucking shit on it. And I read it because it's my fucking friend. You know, I've known him for 30 years. And I remember turning to Tiff in the theater and being like, I mean, it's not fucking Shawshank, but this isn't bad. Like, objectively, this just isn't a bad Star Wars movie. It's no sillier than... And she was like, I know. I'm kind of enjoying it. I said, me too. You know why I'm enjoying it? Because there's space wizards that are going, zhoo, zhoo, zhoo. That's all I wanted. And that's what I got. There was blue milk. Who gives a fuck? Move on.
Oh, God.
So the kids could go, because your parents drug them to the fucking movie theater because babysitting's too expensive. Shut up and fucking move along. It's a very weird thing. We used to experience content socially. We now experience reactions to content socially. And that's the problem. Sorry, Dean. That's the answer to your question.
Yeah.
You're 10 years younger than us, and your generation is the fucking problem. I'm sorry. You fucking Zoomers have ruined it for all of us, you prick.
Lovely. Great. It's 1 o'clock. Let's just go the fuck to bed. I don't care anymore.
With your fucking Googles
This is the
and your
last
flim
time.
flams.
The last time Dean ever suggests... makes a suggestion for a topic on the show. We're going to fart around with nonsense for 2 hours, and then when we start taking his questions seriously, it's going to be 1 a.m, and we're all too tired.
I love you, Dean.
I'm gonna go to bed. I gotta walk the dogs. It's 1 the fucking morning. Just please end the fucking show.
You wanted this? Fuck around and find out, Dean.
I was here at 8:30. Okay, everyone else wasn't.
I wasn't. I gave fair warning that I wasn't going to be.
We didn't start till 10 o'clock.
That's not accurate. It was like 9:48.
Motherfucker.
I'm just saying, being accurate. Did we not just fucking cover how important it is to be accurate in your reporting?
No. You want to know what you did at the end of the show?
I have no idea what time we started.
At the end of the show, you basically said opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Don't read reviews. So the whole idea of a review starter kit out the window.
No. Yes and no.
Yes, Dan, that's what you did.
I didn't mean to, but I kind of did.
All right, everybody. That is our show.
I love you, dude.
If Dean is still willing to join us next week, we'll be doing the Cartoon Express.
I'll be here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. What the hell are we doing for the Cartoon Express? What's the next one? It's Pac-Man, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Pac-Man, where are you? Cartoon Express. We're talking Pac-Man Search Hop-a-Lot / The Day the Forest Disappeared.
God. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
The podcast that we do is going to be great.
Yeah, because
the show, I don't know what the show is going to be.
I don't either. I don't think I've ever actually watched the Pac-Man show. It's a little before my time, so I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, so Dean can go walk his dogs. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. We'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it. On behalf of Dan, Dean, and myself, keep playing games.